Twitter and
Admit all.
thank you. I really need prompting today.
It's okay. I'm probably. Oh, Lila's here.
Hey, everyone,
Hi, David.
moving too
And
fast.
and Marcus. So good. And Kate.
Of
Hello.
course. Hello.
And John. And Rod and Mark. And do you say Vinita? Is that how you say your name? I love it. And Claire. And Hannah. And Ilvo. Hi. And
Hello.
Maria. And Jochen. And Barney. And Phoebe. Oh my
Hey.
gosh, Phoebe. We have missed you so much. It's so good to see you. And
Hey,
Leela
hey, Lila.
and Osa and
Hello.
Jeremy. Oh, Jeremy.
Yeah,
Long
Jeremy.
time no
Yeah,
see.
good to have you here.
Goodness, goodness. It's the day where all the old people show up.
We need a better term than old people.
Instantly offended.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And John,
Perfect.
it's good to see you again. And Anya, hello. Holly. That's wonderful. Oh, yeah, you put in Deborah. Good. Amazing. So good to see all of you. Before we start, a little bit of like practical stuff.
Yes.
Um, First off, this is the last inquiry meeting that we have until 16th of June.
Yes.
So we have a 4 month break because we're going to travel. So make sure that you subscribe both to the Awakening Curriculum channel on YouTube and to Unfettered Mindfulness channel, because we will probably go live, when we're at a particular beautiful sunset, or if we think we suddenly have something very profound to say. We might go online, and then you will get a notification about it if you subscribe.
And the intent, and you never know how things are going to pan out, but the intent is to also have some spontaneous guided meditations and
Yeah.
things like that live. So,
So
um,
we're trying not to plan the spontaneous.
yeah, yeah. There will be a spontaneous meditation
Yeah.
once a week.
So make sure that you subscribe. And otherwise, next time we have this inquiry meeting is on the 16th of June, and it's the same link as you have used today. So you can just save that link. It's the same link for the rest of the year. So you can just save that. Then I also want to say that on Saturday, we have an aphantasia panel, and that is for that we have so many people in our community that are neurodivergent, and one of the umbrellas under the neurodivergence is aphantasia
And Aurelia.
and Aurelia as well. So we and Leela has
Leela primarily has
primarily Leela
been
has
heading
been the
this. Thank
primus
you.
motor in collecting, gathering, not collecting, gathering people with aphantasia. And then we meet in a panel on Saturday. So if you have aphantasia and would like to join the panel, shoot a message to Leela. She's here. You can see her. You can just shoot a message to her, and then you can join if you want to. The panel is going to be recorded, and we're going to put the recording up on the Awakening Curriculum channel, so you will see it in the beginning of March. But if you have aphantasia and you would like to join, then send a message to Leela. Then I think that was it for all new people here. The way that it works is that you can see that you raise your virtual hand if you have a question or something you would like to share. And then you talk with Todd and I, and you can ask any question you have, and we will try to reply as good as we can. It can either be about your practice, it can be about the Awakening Curriculum, it can be about anything. It can also be that you're here for the first time and you would like to join our Hive Mind on Discord. This is the iron gate you have to pass to get access to Discord. We're very, very protective of our community. So we would like to just say hi to you and talk with you and see where you are at. And then people in the community can also go back to the recording and see who you are when you start to connect. There are so many amazing things happening in the Hive Mind on Discord. We put a lot of emphasis on that it's not Todd and I that are sitting here and we're the wise ones. we have a full hive mind of people that are so helpful and
Yeah.
so wise and are going through the same experiences that you are. So there's so many people in there that can help. And it's also on Discord that you can join a study group. People have started to create study groups where they meet once a week. Then they have a lesson from the Awakening curriculum that they watch before the study group, and then they meet in the group and talk about their take of it and the obstructions or issues they have or how it doesn't work in their lives. And then you have a group, a study group that you meet with every week that can support and help you in that experience. So the hive mind is absolutely important.
Yeah.
In the beginning of the curriculum in the old videos that talk about that you need a guide, you find that in the hive mind. You have a full hive mind of people that are guiding you. It's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
We didn't have that back when I started to create the Awakening curriculum, but we
Yeah.
have that now. So I think that was it.
I think so.
We normally go until everybody has asked their questions. I can already see now a lot of people have raised their hands. So if you can try to make your question as story-free as possible. So it's very much to the point of what it really is that you would like to talk about. I know that a lot of times the talking into it helps a lot, but if you can do that before we meet, for yourself,
Just talk to
and
yourself
then you come to us and ask us specifically what it is, because then we can work from the very deep, profound point right away. That is just super helpful.
Yeah, because also we're like we don't have a backstop on when this meeting ends, but
We have a physical backstop and
yeah, exactly.
psychological and emotional
Yeah,
backstop, but
yeah.
otherwise we don't have a backstop.
No, and also I've been under the weather for a while, so I'm a bit of a space cadet. So yeah, so there might be a point where we just have to bow out, but
Yeah.
yeah.
But so far we're
So
we're
far,
up for
yeah,
anyone that has any questions and would like any type of clarification or just say hi. You're also welcome just to say hi.
absolutely.
I think that's
I
it.
think that's good.
Okay.
All right, on
Let's
we
take the
go.
first one.
So let's spotlight. Where did we go? There we are. And we have Vicky first, but that's weird. It just changed.
Oh, it's because she hasn't
Vicky.
got her video.
Oh, right. Yeah, yeah. Vicky, if you could put your video on, then we can
There we go.
Hello,
hello.
Hello.
How have you been?
How are
Good to
you?
see you.
I'm good. I just ate some lunch. I have some very big life choices that I have to deliberate these days, but it's irrelevant to spirituality, so there's that. But so basically like for spirituality, like I want to say like I want to ask like I might have asked this before as
Vicky,
well, but like
Vicky,
so
is it okay
yeah,
if I just interrupt you right away? Because
yeah.
what you just said I just want to circle into that. When you say that I have some very big life choices at the moment, but that is not really anything about spirituality. That's not really relevant for this. But I would like for you to question that, because with every big life choice that we have to make, there's always a center of an I here that have to make that choice, right? And there's that you have an underlying belief about something, it will be good for me to take that education. And then you have another underlying belief that is equally strong that says, but on the other hand, that decision that is the opposite or something else is equally important. That is in its essence exactly what we talk about, because that is just a copy paste of every single issue we have in our lives. So no matter what spiritual question you have to ask us, it has the same starting point. The same starting point is that there's an I, there's a Vicky here in the middle, and there are two things, two underlying beliefs that are drawing me in two opposite directions. So in its essence, no matter what your question is, our answer would be about that.
Yeah.
Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
that makes sense. Yeah.
So,
So yeah, go on.
well, no, go ahead.
Oh yeah, you
No, I was just going to prompt because I was curious as to what the
there we go.
spiritual question was going to be.
Prompt.
No, so when you were going to lead into the, from the spiritual side of things, I'm just curious. Yeah, I'll, yeah. What was your question going to be regarding the spiritual side of things?
Yeah, so basically, like my self-inquiry is very dry. It's
Mm.
like very like, oh, like I'm just gonna walk between two rooms, and every time I enter a room, I'm gonna ask, who am I, or what am I, or where am I, and stuff like that. And it's just very like killing me, like because it's like it's so boring, and
Yeah.
it's like, oh, like, like I'm just gonna say this question and whatever. And so I asked a different person, and they said like you should only do self-inquiry if you have curiosity for it.
Mhm.
Mm.
Yeah.
And I read that Adyashanti said that like you should only do self-inquiry if you're really into it, if you're really like passionate about it. So
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh, I'm not really passionate about this stuff, so I should probably just meditate, right? Like, is that true?
Well, well, if you're passionate about meditation, then yes. Really, what it boils down to is that you have to have some sort of underlying drive or passion for everything that we're doing here. But going back to Pernilla's point, which I think is really relevant to this, that what what you're doing is isolating certain practices on kind of a spiritual pedestal and then
Mm.
saying that the rest of your life is separate from that.
Mm.
And what we're really trying to point to is that it is all the same thing. It is all integrated. So you don't have to have inquiry as just being, okay, now I'm walking to another room. Now is this time that I'm supposed to ask what's walking, or what does it feel like to be a self who's walking from one room to another, or something like that. It's in that moment to recognize that this is a very unique, strange experience of being a human, right? How weird is that? How weird is it to be eating lunch? And as you're eating lunch, as you're taking every bite, recognize all of the weird manifestations of flavor and smell and texture and where it's being felt. And it's really more important that you are alive and present
Mm.
to every moment that you are living, as opposed to trying to make it into some strategic practice to get something out of it.
It was exactly my point
Yeah.
that I would like for you to go from the head, and instead of with your head asking, inquiring, I'm going into the room, where is the I that's going into the room? It's just like blah 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 blah. That is boring.
Yeah.
I would like for you to be in the body. So when you ask the question, I am entering a room, how does that feel? Not intellectually
Yeah.
taking one foot in front of the other and explaining like mechanically what is going on, but how does it feel? How does it feel to have this idea of agency, that I can decide that I'm now here and now I move forward to there? I have a feeling of agency in that movement. How does that actually feel? And when you then, oh, that feels like, a contraction here, or it gives me a feeling of power, or whatever it is, then you question that. And that is where the curiosity comes in. Are you sure about that? Are you sure that this feeling of moving from one room into it, it's a really bad example, but here we go, moving from one room into another room, it gives me a feeling of, um, um, uh, what is it called? When you can choose yourself that you want to,
Agency,
yeah, agency, or
free will.
free will. It gives this feeling of free will. Okay, are you sure that walking from one room to another and choosing you want to walk there is part of free will? So you can dissect it even more, but you keep having it as a feeling in the body. So it's not an intellectual quest.
Does that make sense? Do you get what we're?
Yeah, so it's more about the feeling than the intellectualness of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so are you guys saying that I shouldn't just give up on self-inquiry?
Well,
It's the type of inquiry you're doing
yeah,
right now is not benefiting you. So
yeah,
so there's no point in doing that.
yeah,
You need to find something that makes you feel like excited and
yeah,
curious and, oh dang it, I haven't seen that before. You don't have that feeling of aliveness with it. If you don't have that, then it's not that. Then it's something else. And this goes to everybody. If you're meditating and it feels boring, you are meditating in a way that is not suiting you.
yeah,
You have to find what works for you,
yeah,
because otherwise it's just something you do, like, say five Ave Maria, and then you're a Catholic. It's like it's just empty. It needs to have, you need to have that feeling in the body with you when you do it. So there's like that curiosity on about it.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no there's no special thing called inquiry. There are different practices that people do, which all kind of fall under this banner of self-inquiry, but there are different practices for different people at different times. So for you, what I would say is if you have any sort of proclivity pulling you towards meditation, anyway, yes, sitting meditation, just specific practices like that are great if you're into them. Otherwise, make your life that moving meditation.
I
That
love that.
that presence that you can bring to your daily life changes everything. Because if you're acting like right now, if you're looking at the camera or the phone and you're just seeing, a camera or a phone and you're labeling it at that, that is a very, shallow mental experience. What you can do is to go below the label and be so present with the colors and the shapes and the textures that you're seeing that you kind of forget in a way that you're actually looking at a phone or a computer. It's just this interesting new, art. It's this interesting new experience. And the more you can be with the direct experience of the color and the shape, that actually changes things in your experience of the world. Like it changes the way that you process things. It changes your mental state. And that is more powerful long term than just saying the words, who am I or something like that and having it be dry and unengaged.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I'm gonna try to meditate constantly because that makes sense to me. Like, that makes sense. Because I don't really know if I'll like meditation anyways, so I might as well like make it like an everyday thing where it's like easier to do. So that makes sense. So my second question does normal walking count as meditation, or do I have to like focus on my feet and stuff like that?
Again, well, it depends
It
on where your
depends,
yeah,
yeah.
it depends on where your attention is. The point of most meditation is, or a lot of meditations, I can't say most, but a lot of meditations are to focus attention onto one specific sense field, right? So, like if you're sitting watching your breath, it's a very similar kind of point to walking and feeling your feet on the floor. You're narrowing attention from all of the different sensory input that's coming in from all angles into just the feeling of, the foot touching the ground or the feeling of the musculature that's moving it or whatever your chosen point of focus is. And that is one very specific type of meditation. There are other types of meditation which are about the exact opposite and the complete expansive, just openness of, just being aware of awareness or just being aware of everything at one time, which is also viable, though it's usually recommended to do the more narrow practices first to hone your ability to concentrate and to kind of build up that.
But all meditation, what a meditation and what any practice that we're talking about has to do is to shift your brain.
Mhm.
You are in a certain brain part, the default mode network, when you have that feeling of me and I and all of that. We want you to shift that pathway in your brain. And if that is not happening, it doesn't change anything. So that shift in the brain needs to happen. And a way to do that is via meditation. It can also be via your breath, making deep, deep inhalation, have a pause, and a deep exhalation, and have a pause. That again shifts your brain. So it's the part of the brain that is lighting up if we put you into a scan. It's that we want to happen. And that's why you cannot think your way out of it. You need to feel your way out of it. You need to have a connection to the body. Otherwise, you're going to find meditation just as boring as
Mm.
inquiry because you haven't changed anything. It's the same part of the brain that is lighting up. That needs to be unlit.
Also, I just want to go back to when you had said about I need to meditate all the time. There is a balance that you have to find, right? Because you can also get burnt out on that. If you're
Mm.
trying to be too forceful with anything or too comprehensive with anything, you're going to burn out. So really, it's about finding when it feels right. And then the more you engage with it and the more enjoyment you get out of being present in that way, the more likely it is to just spontaneously keep happening. It's not about just forcing yourself to do it all the time. Allow the kind of natural intrigue and curiosity to take over, and then that's better. What I would actually really recommend, are you familiar with the see, hear, feel practice?
No.
By Shinzen Young, and
Really good.
yeah,
I think
I
I think you would enjoy that
I think that
actually.
would be spectacular for you, and it's one that's really good when you're just walking as well. So in a nutshell, I have some videos on unfettered mindfulness that actually
If you
describe it
start,
too.
yeah, if you
Yeah,
start see, hear, feel,
but
you will find it.
also if you go to unifiedmindfulness.com, they have like lessons on it because Shinzen Young was the one who created it. But in a very tight nutshell, it's basically that if you were, say, doing this while walking, you're basically starting out by just allowing your attention to float wherever it goes and just being aware of which sense appearance pulls your attention in for a second. So, say you're walking and you see a telephone pole, and your eyes go to that. For like 2 or 3 seconds, you place all of your attention on that telephone pole as you're walking, and you're basically feeling like it's like you're a dry sponge and you're like soaking in the visual appearance of that telephone pole. It's not remembering that it's a telephone pole or anything. You're just acknowledging that that is a telephone pole. And if you want to do it with the labeling practice, you say see, because you're kind of acknowledging to yourself that your attention is now focused on the visual field. See. And you just absorb what is being seen for like 2 or 3 seconds. And then you kind of release it, or it'll release on its own, and you notice the next thing that pulls your attention, and it might be all of a sudden you feel a cramp in your leg, and so then you put all of your attention on that cramp in the leg for 2 or 3 seconds, and you label it feel because it's something that you're feeling, and then you just full attention without any discrimination, without any judgment, anything else, just fully absorb what it is like to feel a cramp in the leg. And then when that passes in a couple seconds, you might hear a bird in the tree, and then you just hear the sound of it and you label it here. But for a couple seconds, fully absorb into that sound itself without it even acknowledging that it's coming from a bird. It's just the raw sensory data of those things, and you're acknowledging which of those three sense fields it's in, completely absorbing into it, and then letting attention go. And by doing that, you're, for one, enhancing the sensory clarity of really being present with each sense as it's being seen or smelled or heard or whatever. And incidentally, if you taste something or smell something, you can use the feel label for that. So you don't have to label everything with all five. Um, and so you're really tuning in the senses, and something happens when you are deeply engaged with for that 2 or 3 seconds with the direct experience of something without thinking about it or without being distracted. It shifts actually the networks in the brain, and we're having a much more raw, unfiltered experience of the world, which can be profoundly changing. Um, and you can do that doing literally everything in your life, no matter what you're doing. You can be take some time to just constantly label or to consciously label see, hear, or feel, depending on where your attention is, and just to be fully absorbed on that one thing for at least a couple seconds.
Okay, yeah. So I heard that. I'll be doing that in the future.
Nice.
And I still have some questions, but there's a lot of people, so
We
I'm
have
not gonna
Yeah.
we
ask
have
them
so
anymore.
many new people. Yeah. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Vicky.
So good luck
Yeah,
with the
so
practice. Re-
Yeah.
remember to really keep it based off of that curiosity and passion as opposed to a feeling of obligation or that, you have to do it to get something out of it. Because nothing good ever comes from that.
Mm.
It really has to be this just, I'm absolutely curious or I'm absolutely fascinated by this thing, or, just really feeling like you're pulled to get on the meditation cushion or to check in with one of these other modalities.
Mm.
Yeah, so that makes me a bit curious. So I'll ask my last question. So, like, what if I'm never curious? Like, what if I'm never curious, and what if I'm always just like, oh, I'm obligated to do this. Like, what if it's like that?
Then you go back to what I started by saying, because that is where you have a center of a wiki here, and you have something pulling you in one direction and an equally strong underlying belief about the opposite. It's the second Fetter material that I then would recommend you to look into, because curiosity, we're all born with curiosity. If we were not born with curiosity, we would still be lying on the floor as babies and not move or anything. The only reason why we move as a baby is because of curiosity. So if you don't have that feeling of curiosity, it's because you at some point in your life were taught that that is not okay in our family, and then you just stop. Just to belong in the family, you just stop being curious. But that is second Fetter stuff that I would like for you to dive into then.
Okay, got it. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. It's really
Thank you
good
so much.
seeing you.
Good seeing you, and see you in June.
Yeah.
See you in
Bye.
June.
Bye.
Okay, I gotta go back.
Here we go. It's David.
Hello. How are you? David, or is it David or David?
It's in Italian it's Davide, but you can call me David, no problem.
Okay,
Hi
thank you.
everyone.
Hi, welcome,
Hi,
welcome.
Good
hi
to
Todd
meet
and
you.
Pernille. Thank
Hello.
you.
Glad you could make it.
Yeah, I'm totally new here, so I don't know what I am supposed to do. Do you have some questions for me? Do you have some questions for me?
Well,
Or
No,
should I
it's
just
it's more where are you in your
yeah. Quick,
Okay,
quick little
these are
bio.
yeah, these are crazy days because I think I had like a big experience like 3 days ago. I spoke to a person that had an awakening like 2 or 3 years ago, and I contacted her through the Awakening Collective website. Her name is I don't know if you know her. She's called Chiki Davis. She's
Yeah,
affiliated with
actually.
the Berkeley University, I think. She's also a therapist, and she agreed to talk with me. I told her all my story that I've been meditating for more than 10 years and all the different teachers that I've listened to, all the books and all this kind of stuff. And I told her at one point, she said one thing in specific, like about the third feather, that really, I can tell you what was if you want, but that thing that she said really moved something in me. I literally started crying during the
Oh,
meeting,
yeah.
and like my mind stopped, and we continued after that. And then like after the call ended, my body like began shaking. It was like evening here in Italy, and I began laughing, and like because I already understood that the ego is just a thought arising, and that these are all thoughts arising, and they reflect reality, and they are just reflections of this of sensations and colors and sounds and these or other thoughts, and so this is all like a structure made of mirrors, and these thoughts are like mirrors, and they
Yes.
mirror each other, and they arise, and there is a me thought that it is at the center of it all, and if you see that it's just a thought, like everything starts collapsing, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But
yeah,
before I spoke to her, it was more of an intellectual belief. Like
Yeah.
I knew that I could see that it was like that, but there was so much doubt. Then that evening, like I laughing was coming out and the body was shaking, and there was this like a huge relief, like a huge weight was taken off my shoulders,
Yeah.
really, my body. And then like this intense sense of grief also, like grief, like something wasn't there anymore, like somebody died.
Yeah.
And that lasted until I went to sleep. And the next morning I woke up and I was still feeling a little less intense, but I was still like laughing and feeling that kind of my body was lighter and everything was lighter. And I remember I was watching the sunrise from my window, and like that, like the mind was very empty. And
Yeah.
then slowly, the ego during the days, the ego came back a little bit, and in the following days, it came back even more. And I can see that these are just the me is just a story, and it continually appears from nowhere, like these thoughts appear from nowhere
Yeah.
and then disappear, and they talk about this me, this character. I can see it. I can see it now better than before. Before I can see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see, but there is no one see it. They just
Yeah.
arrive.
Yeah.
They just
Yeah.
arrive
Yeah.
there. Okay. So but I am sure that there are still a myriad of beliefs still hidden in the mind, and I still have doubts, and I still experience the ego rising, the ego appearing, and these I thoughts appearing. I'm also doing a written inquiry with a very nice lady on the Liberation Unleashed website right now on the
Yeah.
forum, and I'm very confused. I feel very confused these days because I don't know really what happened, if it was real, if it really happened. I mean, there is just this. So this is also a memory right now. And so the memory maybe changes over time, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't really. I'm beginning to forget it,
Yeah.
and I don't know what's next. I bought your course on the first Fetter,
Thank
and
you.
I'm reading and studying it right now, and I want to clarify this recognition that I had,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I think that maybe I need the other people to confront with also, and I need to talk to other people
Yeah.
that
Yeah. Yeah.
live
But
are on
yeah,
this kind of
you
path.
yeah, I love that. I really love that. It's such an amazing description. You're really gonna enjoy the hive mind, I'm sure.
Oh,
When
thank
you
you so much. Thank
Yeah,
you so
yeah.
much.
When you get in there, you might be overwhelmed by all of those threats. I don't know if you are familiar
Yeah,
with
yeah,
Discord. There's so many threats in there because there's so many people talking at the same
yeah,
time and are experiencing things at the same
yeah,
time. So we're trying to put it into different topics so you can just look around and see where it fits. The thing that I really love about your description is that you have very clearly seen that it's just mirrors. It's like lots of mirrors that are just standing and reflecting one
uh,
another all the time. And
yeah,
then there's like one collection in the middle that is collecting all the information, and that is the one that thinks that I am an individual self. Is not. It's just a collection point for
yeah,
all the information. But that does not mean that we can't get identified in traffic or if somebody says something, or and that is what we do with the feathers. It's that we, whenever you kind of forget that you're just a hall of
yeah,
mirrors,
Yeah.
then
yeah,
you can use the feathers to, why did I get so upset when she said that to me, or when he said that to me, or why do I still get clammy hands when I'm visiting my family, or why do I, so you're just curious to the experience, because it is bizarre that something we have experienced decades ago can still come up in this moment as if it's happening right now and is real and truth right now, when we are
yeah,
nothing but just hall of mirrors. So it's, I love your description of it. I really love it. I'm
yeah, yeah,
yeah, I'm so looking forward to hearing next chapter.
yeah. I want to thank you, Pernil, you especially, both of you, but Pernil especially, because like I very recently discovered your channel and what you do, but you instantly clicked with me. And when you, and I saw when you spoke about you being autistic in some videos, I mean, I've never been officially diagnosed in my life, but I always suspected something. I don't really fit 100% the profile of the average autistic person. There are some things that I really don't fit in, but there are also some things that I really recognize in me. And the way you talk about the feathers, the way you talk about what you experienced, really resonated with me. So
Thank you.
that
I'm
that
so
that, that
happy.
really resonated with me. And
Yeah, I'm so happy, David. I'm really happy. Really
yeah,
happy. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to hearing
thank you.
next time in June how these 4 months have been and how you're doing and all that. I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's going to be a
The
ride.
Yeah.
last thing
Yeah.
very quickly I want to say is that like these days I experience lots of doubts and there are like thoughts emerging that say this is all delusion. You are
Mm.
just deluding yourself. This is just not true. This is not real. You didn't experience anything real, and this is just suggestion. And like I can see that these are thoughts. These are just thoughts.
Mm,
They arise bodily sensation. They like make the body react. So there
yeah.
are bodily sensations that react to these thoughts, and like this is where I'm struggling right now. So I think is the second factor, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
doubt, all this doubt
Yeah.
arising. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's where I am at right now. I think I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's what
It's
Yeah,
also
yeah,
important when you have those experiences, which it clearly sounds like you did, right? There was something that happened that stood out as a marked change in your consciousness for at least for a period. You exhibited a variety of symptoms which seem to be very common among people having these shift in perceptual states. Um, I think you're where what I would suggest is we tend to hold on to those things and to cling on to
Mm,
those states like either I had it and I lost it, or because it is
mm,
inevitably, the neurology behind it is you have old wiring that's still there. All
yeah,
these
yeah,
old
yeah,
pathways are there. So it's
mm,
inevitable
yeah,
that even after a big shift experience, that you're going to go back to old habits of thinking, which is exactly what you're seeing.
yeah, yeah,
And I think if anything, at least from an intellectual standpoint, it can also help reinforce that sense of, right, there is no individual self there because you can see the patterns at work. You can see the conditioning, like Pernilla was
mm,
pointing to,
mm,
that isn't it weird that something that happened 30 years ago is still kind of relevant and it's still echoing around
yeah,
even though you've seen through it, like whatever is here, there's some part of this current experience which sees that it's not true,
mm.
and it can understand that, and yet it still has some power, and yet still that conditioning is playing in that in certain situations you act like you did when you were 10, and it's like these things still happen because it's not personal, because it's not an individual self who can have an experience and be fundamentally changed by having gone through that experience. What we're changing is the entire wiring of the system so that it starts displaying in different ways. And the experience that you had, that it sounds like you had, was, one big new way of experiencing the world. But like I said, as you experience, the ego starts coming back, all the old conditioning comes back
mm.
online. So
Yeah,
now
yeah,
it's
yeah,
this kind of long process of noticing all of those ways where life does not feel like it did then.
Mm.
And it's not that we're now constantly going to be striving to get back to that, but just to notice in very stark terms, like, oh, this feels like identification now. You might not have ever
yeah,
realized that you felt identified in ways because it just was the way
The
life
way life
was.
is.
And now when you get those tastes of like, oh, this is what life feels like without any thoughts coloring it or without identification attached to it, now you have a new gauge that you can use to be like, oh, okay, well, why does it, oh yeah, I'm totally getting identified with that thought, or I'm totally believing that thing, or I'm totally, you know, engaged with feeling identified with the body and the way that it feels right now and wanting it to be different or whatever else. Those are those things that you can start to recognize are more clearly as those kind of identifications that you can look into, as opposed to, you know, before you even recognize that there were other alternatives. Um, to yeah.
And then what you're going to experience is that underlying, that undercurrent that you have is going to be the same in all areas. For
Yeah.
example, you said that that you have thoughts about, well, this is just suggestion, you know, I'm just believing in what they're saying, and it's just suggestion. To me, that is indicating about an undercurrent about fear. Because you have been taught that you need to be careful. You need to be careful. You need to be skeptical. You need to be. So that means that there's an undercurrent of fear. There's a voice telling you to be careful here.
Yeah.
Whenever that voice comes up, know that it's not true. You are conditioned by fear. You were taught to be careful in life, and you were taught to survive in life with fear. It's all that voice is saying. It's not saying that there's something dangerous. It's just saying something about what you come from, how your mirrors and how your wiring was created. It's the only thing it says anything about. So start to notice how many times during the day that you have a little voice that has an undertone of fear. And whenever you notice that, then calm the fear. It's okay. It's okay. If it's just suggestion, I got this, you know? So you just calm yourself whenever you have that feeling of fear coming up.
Yeah. The David Carter has always identified with being a very rational person who like really checks things to like separate true from false, and like very careful with trusting stuff, with trusting people, trusting stuff in general. So it's really like scared of being wrong, scared of being victim of other people's. It's all a big story. It's all a big story, but it's still there. It's so big because like it went on for years.
But I also acknowledge the importance it had in your life at some point, because at some point in your life it was relevant. Otherwise, it wouldn't have happened. That wouldn't be your belief. You would have had a completely different belief, but that is your belief because it was relevant for you at some point. Now you're grown up. You're an adult. You got your back. You don't have to be like on guard all the time. You can relax. Not that you're now gonna become gullible and jump into every single pyramid scheme that is out there, you know. So it's not. I'm not saying that the opposite will happen, but it's more that you see through that it's just a belief. It's like if sorry.
Maybe can it be that it has been transmitted to me like by my parents, like my father, for example, like this way of approaching life as being very careful, like not being too open, being very close to things and suspecting everything. Maybe. Like I have been born into that kind of environment.
Exactly.
Maybe.
And then it's just a copy paste, and you've been a good boy and done that. But now you can see through that, and you are an adult, and you got your own back, and you can, you know, feel into every experience that you have, how much of this is relevant right now, or how much is just conditioned.
Yeah, thank you so
Love
much.
it, David. Love it so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, really good meeting you. Really good meeting you. And
thank you.
Have fun in Discord, and see you in June.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Have a good trip. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
There we go.
And Marcus.
Marcus up next.
Yes.
Hello,
Hello, Marcus.
Hey, good to
How
see
you
you
been?
both.
Yeah, good to
I'm
Likewise.
see
I'm
you.
good. I'm pretty good. Yeah, so it's this whole journey is so funny to me. I'm continually finding that when I give up the goal of achieving to something,
Yeah.
um, that's when, something opens for it to actually arrive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I guess isn't surprising. So, I started meditating a decade ago,
Mhm.
and it wasn't initially a part of, I didn't even know what awakening was. It was, this is good for your mental health, this is good for concentration, so on and so forth. And um, what I, over the 10 years, it seemed subjectively that that part of meditation that is concentration never improved.
Mm.
Mm.
I was like, the monkey mind was as active after 10 years as it was on day one. Um, and I went through all kinds of phases of, discouragement and acceptance and, all this. And eventually, when I got on more on this path and learned all the different ways you know,
Yeah.
people found their way there, I was like, okay, well, maybe that's just not me,
Yeah.
and I won't worry about that. And worries about it would still flare up now and then, but I was able to just go, that's just not how my mind works. I thought there's probably some undiagnosed ADHD. But I think really what it mostly was such extreme discomfort with body sensations
Yeah.
that, of course, I was going to keep going, you know, 2 seconds of sitting with body sensations was too much. And so
Mm.
just thought. Um, and so when I found my way to sort of somatic work,
Yeah.
that was the big sea change. And for me, and I've talked about this before.
Yeah.
Um, Last week, or last time we met, I brought up how, wow, I'm able to do inquiry now,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but I couldn't do it. And I think it all comes down to growing comfort with everything here.
Yeah.
Um, the one thing that was a bummer for me about concentration was that Angelo recommends this inquiry or meditation, where you, and other people do too, where you label thoughts. You wait for the thought
Mm.
and label thought. And it just seemed real intuitive that that would be really good for me if I could start to develop that relationship with thought, but I'd get lost in thought so I just kept going back to the body. So anyway, something happened a week or so ago, as with the inquiry, where I just woke up and I'm like, I'm ready to do that now.
Wow.
I don't know where that came from, but I can now, not perfectly, but I mean, honestly, for the first time in a decade, I can sit and go, oh, there's a thought.
I
Oh,
love
there's
that.
another
Yeah.
thought. Again, this is a discovery I'm sure a million people have made, 6 months into meditating or whatever. But what's kind of been shocking to me is that it feels as if I've gotten down to some atomic level of thought. I'm sure there's subatomic levels beneath
Yeah.
that, where, oh my God, it's completely random.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
completely random.
Oh, yeah,
It's
yeah.
it's it's uh two words from a song lyric, and
Yeah.
then, oh, that's a thought, and then a moment later, a nonsense phrase like, January chickens.
But
What's
do you know what
Yes.
is even more insane?
Yeah.
That those two, lyrics from a song or January Chicken, those two are just two random of a million of other thoughts that you were not even aware of.
That makes
It's
sense
so
because
crazy. We, you
there's
can you
also
can have you can have thoughts that are happening and you're not aware of thinking.
Right.
And suddenly there's something that is just clicking with how your biochemistry, how you have slept, how you feel if the sun is shining. Everything is just clicking, and suddenly you have lyrics from a song. And then those lyrics from a song or whatever, a smell or scent or anything, suddenly it's generic chicken. But there has been millions of thoughts in between there that you're not even aware of. And what is confusing with all of it is that we think that our thoughts are important. We think that they hold some kind of truth about something. So we need to pay attention to our thoughts. And nothing could be further from the truth.
Yeah. Yeah, it feels like just these random things pop
Yeah,
up, and if I'm not going thought, some of them the mind just hooks onto,
Mm.
yeah,
and then it becomes a chain. Um, I feel like there's a slight sense of what you're talking about with the millions that, of course, I can't identify them, but there's almost a sense of something kind of boiling
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
underneath,
yeah,
and then
yeah,
bubbles up, January
yep,
chickens, or
yeah,
yeah.
whatever crazy
yeah.
thing. There's some frustration around that because it feels like everything's a thought.
But
Everything is a
everything is
thought.
a
Everything.
thought. So,
How can I guess this is when the mind wants to like gamify it and go, oh, now the goal is to catch each thought. And I'm like,
No,
no,
but there's no way. There's
no.
like
but
a
Marcus,
million of them.
right now
Yeah,
you think that thoughts are just what is happening in your mind when you're thinking, but it's not. When you look at me, that is a thought. You're not
Yeah.
even hearing what I'm saying. You hear what you think I'm saying. When you look at the background, whatever you perceive that to be is a thought. There are only thoughts. There's nothing else than that. So you cannot notice all of it because most of it is completely out of your conscious mind. It's in those 95% of the subconscious. You're
Right.
not even aware. So being frustrated that you can't realize or notice every single thought, you're bound to fail with that because it's not possible.
but even worse yet, that feeling of being the one
Yeah,
who is in a shooting gallery trying to shoot every little, cardboard duck that comes up is itself part of it's a thought.
it's a
It's
thought.
part of it, the whole thinking mechanism. So that urge to be able to seek and recognize and hear every thought is just another substratum of thought. There is no Marcus individual in there who is able to actually do that, who could tie himself up in knots trying to actually hear or see every thought or
And
experience
when
it.
and when you have a feeling of, oh, I'm absolutely failed, I meditated for a decade and only now can I think, that is a thought. And when you have, yeah, I really woke up one morning and now I can actually do it, that is a thought too. So the one that is self-deprecating and the one that is tapping himself on the shoulder, both are just thoughts about thoughts.
I think what's confused me for a long time, and it still is a little confusing, the way I hear this taught sometimes is there's a thought and there's a gap, and there's a thought and there's a gap. And I can find that now, except when I start examining the gap,
Mm.
it's filled with more thoughts. They're
Yeah,
just
yeah,
Yes.
subtler
yeah, yeah.
thoughts. So then it's so I don't know if that's sort of a provisional
Yeah,
teaching
yeah. Really
or
overt thoughts tend to
yeah.
come with a gap, because a lot of times when people first start getting into meditation, they don't even know that they're thinking. I mean, you can have people who have spent their entire lives unaware of the fact that they've ever had a thought. And then when they start to become aware of it, then it's like, oh, that was a very explicit thought. And then there's like a moment, and it might just be, a second or a fraction of a second, and then another thought comes. So for that, there can be actually a gap. But then as you're noticing, the more and more subtle your attention becomes on the mental landscape, the more you realize it is just a cacophony of layer after layer after layer of more and more subtle bubblings and brewings of nonsense.
Even just sitting, if I right now, and this goes to all of you, if I ask you guys to feel your feet and really notice how your feet feels right now, that is a thought.
Mm.
So even when we have sensations in the body or feelings or emotions coming up or anything like that, all of that is just a thought. It's just about yeah, somebody asked about the difference between feelings and emotions, and it's just about how frequent you think it. You know, if a feeling is when something you feel something and it just comes up and then disappears quite quickly. An emotion is when we believe in the feeling, like when we start to have a personality tied in about the feeling. But both are just thoughts.
That's great. Thanks. So one last thing. For years for me, I'm sure I've talked to you about this before, meditation was an unpleasant
Yeah,
experience.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm really curious about the part of me that like kept on meditating anyway. That's really
Yeah.
yeah,
interesting to me because there was something there that still wanted to do it,
Yeah.
but it was all about the body sensations that I was uncomfortable with.
yeah,
I'm going to sit here and feel terrible for, at the beginning it was for 10 minutes, and
Yeah.
that
yeah.
was almost panic inducing. Um, as things have shifted for me, it's become often now there's I guess what I call much a pleasant feeling, but what I don't think I've ever experienced in meditation is equanimity. What I've experienced is two different, or probably a million forms, but forms of excitability that I could put in two classifications. There's, you know, these feelings are horrible or unbearable, and then there's the rapturous, ecstatic
Mm.
thing.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
vacillate, and there's more of the rapture now than there's ever been before, but it's like there's this level of just excitability or energy or something, and I still get kriyas. I've talked about that before, but it's like there's just an excitability of this nervous system that can be, the mind can think of it as positive or negative,
yeah.
but it's not a stillness or an equanimity or a calmness. So I guess I don't really have a question other than
No,
just want to hear
no, but I have,
your
even though you don't have a question, I have an answer. Um, it's actually the Vedanas that you talk about, that you have pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral. So what we just talked about, where you said that you have never noticed the pause between thoughts. The neutral is between the uncomfortable and the pleasant. Between there, there's a space that is neutral. So if you start to notice that neutral space in everything, also when you are cooking or walking or anything, notice, is it pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral? And have a focus on the neutral part. Because in the neutral part, underneath that, that is like the middle way of everything. Underneath that is where you have that stillness, simplicity, and contentment that I talk about. And that is where equanimity is, where there is nothing right now that could be any different, should be any different. It's just exactly like it's supposed to be right now. And you find that in that stillness or that neutral Vedana.
That's great.
Love it, Marcus.
Thank you. Have a
So
great
much.
time in Europe.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so
Thank you
much.
so much.
So
It's
much.
going to be great.
Yeah. We'll look forward to seeing you afterwards.
Yeah. Yeah. See you in
Yeah.
June.
Yeah. And actually see you at the panel.
Oh, yeah. See
Or-
you on Saturday.
So take care.
Bye.
I could really use a quick bio break.
There we go. Bio away. So there's
I'll be right back.
there's a bio break for
3 minute,
everyone.
2 minute.
2 minute bio break. There's now a competition going. Do you pee quicker than Todd? Okay. And we're back.
And we're back. Are we on?
Yes.
Hello. Okay. So next up we have John.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hi,
Hi,
John. Hi.
How are you?
I'm here. I'm here for the Hive Mind interview.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
So good to meet you.
Yeah,
So
good to meet you too.
like you heard with
David.
David, if
Yeah.
you just give us a little background where you are, what's going on, how you got here.
Yeah, we'll do. We exchanged a few emails, Todd. If you remember, I'm the guy that was married to a Dane, Pinola. So I love your
Yes,
accent.
yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
I do.
Good
Um,
choice.
Good choice.
so, oh, where to start? I've been looking for a way of, well, wind back a bit. Years ago, I found myself waiting to go down and collect my master's degree, having slaved to get through this degree, having left school with no qualifications, and a big, big, big push to get this. And I looked in the catalogue or the program for the day, and I saw somebody ahead of me who got a distinction. I'd just got a pass, and suddenly this thought popped into my mind that was, okay, um, you need to go and do a doctorate because you're just not good enough. And this light bulb came on above my head that said, if you don't sort something out, if you don't work out what's going on, you're never going to be happy because you're always going to be chasing and chasing and chasing. And that started a path of doing a variety of different interventions and studying things. I'm a master practitioner of NLP, I'm a hypnotherapist, and I've done all sorts of stuff. And recently, well, 3 or 4 years ago, I guess, started to look at the three principles, Sid Banks stuff. Don't know if you're aware of that.
No.
There are a
The
lot
name
of overlaps
principle
with
sounds familiar.
non-duality, heck of a lot of, and recently just found the non-duality stuff. I've been reading Rupert Spira and a few other people. Recently just did the Angelo online retreat as well. So found that very interesting. I've got a very, very, very busy mind and a very I'm score very, very highly on critical thinking,
Mhm.
and used to think that was a really beneficial thing to have. And
Yeah.
now it's a bit of a plague, really. I was listening to what Marcus was saying, and I loved all of what he was saying. It struck so many chords. I liken it to when I'm sitting meditating, or the way I used to meditate. It was almost like thought whack-a-mole.
Yeah,
So a thought
yeah,
would come up, and you slap it down.
yeah.
Or an analogy of a bingo machine, where the ping pong balls pop up
Yeah.
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 Yep.
completely randomly. I'm finding that I'm getting to a point now where I have longer and longer periods between the thoughts
Mm.
Nice.
as I calm myself down. I do what I think Angelo would call natural meditation rather than focusing on a mantra.
Mm.
And it's just a case of letting the thoughts come through and recognizing them and then letting them go.
Yeah.
I find it hilarious sometimes to find myself in a gap between the thoughts, and then I think, "Oh, I'm in a gap between the thoughts. Oh, fuck!
Exactly.
This is exactly the thing." And but the thought the gap sometimes gets longer and longer and longer. And I think I'd made some notes. I think I've had three experiences over the last one when I was listening to the or doing the three principles stuff, and I got myself really, really, really tired and strung out. I went to bed very, very, very tired. Woke up the next morning and I had a real feeling of dissociation.
Oh.
Couldn't remember whether I'd done something or I dreamt I'd done it.
Mhm.
So I'd find I've kind of stepped into a different space altogether for a while.
Yep.
Very, very disorientating. Don't quite know what that was about. Took me 3 or 4 days to get back on an even keel again. So found that interesting. More recently, I had an experience where I was meditating and I felt like I'd kind of dropped through into a different space altogether, where I'd kind of lost the sense of self.
Yeah.
but then the thought, the doubt, the fear, the anxiety pops back in again, and
Mm.
by the
Right.
next morning, it had
Yeah.
gone pretty much.
Yeah.
And then whilst I was on the retreat, had a very strong experience of doing the inquiry of who am I, and had a realization that I'd never been able to find the self. You look really hard for the self, and the self isn't there.
Yeah.
And then I kind of had an experience of, oh, well, there is a self, but it's part of a bigger world. It's part of a bigger part of consciousness. And that was almost visceral. I could almost see
Mm.
a melding of a sense of self with everything else,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is very, very odd. It didn't feel like it was a mental construct. It felt like I was watching something happening.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay.
There are clearly lots of things happening in your experience right now, and a lot of things are shifting of how you experience reality right
Mm.
now. And I love that you're so open to it, and even though you have had that experience of disassociation where it's just like you can't remember, back or forth, or if
Yeah.
it was that a dream or was it real, or when that is what we call six fetter experiences, where the idea of that boundary or that structure that we believe is there, when that starts to dissolve, it can be very disorientating to experience that before you know for sure that there is no separate self anywhere. It can be
Tell me
really,
about it.
because where am I in all this? That can be really, really. Um, I think that the experience that you have right now, where you feel part of something bigger and part of a big self, it's to me it sounds it's a wonderful place to be, and but it also sounds a little bit like a protection mechanism that at least you have that to fall back on. So there's not a self here, but there's a big self out there, and I'm a part of that. So it can
Not
be
sure.
part.
Not sure if that's what I'm saying, Pinola.
No,
That's what I kind of saw was happening,
yeah,
as opposed to I don't actually feel that's the case. It just was almost like something that I sensed.
yeah,
The
Mm.
thing that I'm feeling at the moment is my 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 state is vacillating from being
Yeah.
almost from one extreme to another.
yeah,
Yesterday I felt like shit all day, to be
yeah. I'm
perfectly frank.
sorry.
Excuse the potty
Yeah,
mouth, but
No,
yeah,
it's
and
fine.
then today I felt great.
yeah,
Yeah.
And I know tomorrow I could feel the other way again, and
Yeah.
yeah,
and backwards and forwards. And when I first got in contact with Todd, I'd just come off the retreat, and I don't know if anybody here in the Hive Mind did the retreat, but something like 15 meditation sessions over 4 days
yeah,
was a complete shredder to me. I felt I was in bits by the time I'd finished it.
yeah,
I mean, it's fantastic,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
but it was really a
A lot.
big strain on the what they call the nervous system, I would say.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I had
absolutely.
another I had another big realization as well, and I think I shared this with Todd, and I'm not sure whether I communicated it clearly. Really, was that I'd come into this with a view that I wanted to fix myself.
Mm.
Mm,
So I was almost using this as a psychological sticking plaster
mm,
Yeah.
to fix something. And in a quite a deep meditative state, I had this realization that it's not about that.
mm,
It's about finding the truth of things,
Mm.
mm,
finding the reality of it
yeah,
is the important thing,
mm,
not fixing myself. And if there is benefit that comes along, so be it.
yeah. Again, when you say that thing about fixing the self, I hear it as exactly the same thing that I pointed out before. That it's like there's this me here, and with the fixing the self, there's something wrong with this me here,
Mm,
but there's something else that can be better than what is here.
Mm.
And what I really would like for you, even when you feel like you did yesterday, where everything just feels horrendous, I would like for you to have compassion with yourself, because what you're going through at the moment sounds like a lot, and it's like a lot that is very compacted in a very short period. You just heard Marcus that has spent a decade meditating, finding out that he has, pauses in between thoughts, So, and you are kind of like experiencing all this on a Tuesday. It's going so quick. So please be compassionate and kind towards yourself. Also, when you have a tendency to be very cerebral in your life in general, compassion is not really, what we
Compassion
do.
was never a thing. Compassion is not
That,
something that
and
it's
that's
not part of the makeup.
exactly. So if you can start to open up for compassion towards yourself, that what you're experiencing, it's okay. If you have the feeling that I need to do better, then okay, I can be compassionate towards the one that thinks that I'm not okay and that I should do better. Or I can be compassionate about the one that is doubting something right now. Or I can be, so whatever is coming up, there's that unconditional acceptance of what is arising and compassion towards it. I really think that would do you really, really good at the moment, because things are shifting quick in your neighborhood. My goodness.
I think that the reaction that I have to you saying that tells me that you're right. There's a lot of resistance to that.
Yeah.
Hell of a lot of resistance.
Yeah.
And I think that also leads into, I was going to say, because there's the common saying that, the way we do one thing is the way we do everything. And what I hear from you is, and we also share, having come from a very cerebral kind of a background, that can be where even when it feels like we're shifting to something that feels more like a felt experience, like when you said it feels like, you don't even necessarily believe that, there's a bigger self and it's connected with everything, but there's still an urge to put that into a conceptualizable framework. And when I hear you say that, I thought it was about fixing myself, but now I realize it's to get to the truth, that if there's an idea that there is a digestible, understandable, cognizable truth, that is still something that plays into that old starting point of being able to use the mind to understand something in a way. The fixing the self, I think, is actually ties more into that compassionate sense where we don't need to reify the self in order to work with things like depression, anxiety, any kind of, maladies of the emotional state that we might have. We can do that because we can have compassion for this entire, being, however it's showing up in the world. And we can work with that as it is. And it's not about becoming, the best John, the best you that there could be, but just to see, like, in what ways or is your life plagued by some form of suffering in any given moment. And then just being available to being able to inquire into what aspects of either my thinking or my resistance to this moment or something else is causing that suffering right now. And then working with that. And it might still be therapeutic tools. It might be a different type of inquiry. It can be any number of different things. But instead of wholesale writing off that it's not about that, but it's about this kind of quest for this other reachable goal. I think it's important to stay open to the entire prospect of your experience, and like we've talked about with a couple people so far, remain curious about everything that's showing up, so that you are really there, present and open for anything that comes up, however it comes up, and we're usually very adamant about warning people away from the seek for the truth, the search for the truth, because I've also been there. I spent a long time with that exact same thing because I had the same sort of, cerebral background that there has to be some fundamental truth that when I get it, but it comes from such a humanistic standpoint that there is a truth which is graspable by the human mind, and specifically my human mind, and I'm going to be able to get it. And instead, what we find the more we do this work is the more the need for some landing point of truth just falls away. The less important that becomes to being able to live a content, equanimous life. And that we find ultimately that that whole idea of one ground of unshakable, unquestionable, real truth is very hard to justify or put in place when everything starts to kind of fall apart in the ways that it does when we do non-dual practice. Um, Again, though, it by all means move whichever direction you are moved in. I'm not saying this to dissuade you from doing anything, but just giving a little bit of a caveat that if you're still coming at things from the standpoint that the mind is going to be able to understand or grasp it, you're still using the same toolbox that you've been using your entire life. And it's the one which has a lot of utility in a lot of places in life. And it's good to still have that, but in this particular realm of existence, it's
And
a bit an
experiencing.
experience. It's less effective. It's less helpful, and it can really run you into some circles and dead ends. Does that make sense? Using the
Do
mind.
do you, do you still want to drive the high mind? Or will we never see you again?
I yeah, it runs so counter to the way that I've lived my life.
Yeah,
Mm.
I know. I get it.
And that's that's the challenge. It's
Yeah.
kind of getting off the bus and you know, it's what I think when you've been focused on the doing of things,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
it's the not doing and
It's
the
the
allowing
being.
and the
Yeah. It's when you have this idea that it's what you can say, do, where your value lies as a person, and then suddenly we come and say, no, 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 it's in who you are. It's the being. That is so. It's a completely different language. It's a completely different experience.
it is. And I was seeing your mouth moving, Todd, and I was hearing the words, but I'm not sure. I'm going to have to listen to this back
Go
again
Yeah,
back to
yeah,
the
yeah,
recording.
yeah,
for
yeah.
it. Just if I'm being absolutely honest,
Yeah,
I
I
was hearing
appreciate
what
it.
you were saying, but I don't know how much of it was landing.
Yeah, it's
It's
okay.
okay.
It's
It's
okay.
okay. And it's also, it's why also the curriculum is so good, because you can go back to a lesson, 2 months later, and you're like, you can swear that I did not say that last
Oh,
time.
I'm doing that already.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm halfway through I bought the course and I'm halfway through, and I keep getting mixed up where I am and going back and thinking, no, I haven't read this, and I
yeah,
know I have.
yeah, yeah. And it's because your brain is you're creating new pathways right now.
Yeah.
Your entire experience, and like I said, everything is happening very, very quick for you. So really, breathe. It's okay. You don't have to understand everything, right away. It's yeah, give it time, and keep being curious, keep asking questions, keep coming here and ask questions in the hive mind.
Yeah,
So you keep having that, and keep being honest about it. I do
yeah,
not understand a word you just said. I saw your mouth moving. I have no idea what that was. It's keep being honest about it, because it's the most important thing in this is that you're honest towards yourself about your experience, because that is where you draw a line in the sand from how you were conditioned to be you and what your real life direct experience actually is. Those are two completely different things, and the more you're honest towards yourself, the easier this process is going to be, for
yeah.
sure.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so
Mange
much.
tak.
Selv tak, min ven. Selv tak, min ven. Det er godt, du er her. We're very happy to have you.
Thank you.
Thank you so
It's really
much.
good seeing you. Thank
Did I
you.
pass the interview?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
You absolutely did.
With flying
Absolutely.
colors. Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right, next we have Ilvo.
Hello.
Hello. Glad you can make it so soon.
Hello. Yeah,
Hello.
I'm glad to
Well,
be here, and thank you very much. It's so I discovered your channel not so long ago, yeah, it immediately resonated, just as Davide said, the
Yeah.
way
You're also
camels
Italian, aren't
Italian.
you?
Yes.
Yeah. Second Italian. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're
So
collecting
yeah,
Italians at the moment.
Sorry, you were saying?
well, yeah, totally. Yeah, I'm just very happy to be here, hearing you talk with every person that came on was just right on point where I don't know, it just felt so relevant from Vicky, the first, the girl who talked, was just so relevant. The meditation that you spoke about in a nutshell, Todd, like here,
See here,
See,
feel.
feel. Yeah.
yeah, I just started doing that during the call. It's been so powerful. So I'm so
Amazing.
glad.
Excellent.
Yeah, and a lot of fun because I also have been struggling with a lot of like lack of curiosity, and it's a little bit of a theme in my life. Like I remember when I was a kid, there was always I always felt the expectations of knowing what I wanted to do, my passion, follow the passion, and I'm always thought I don't know, I just don't, and yeah. So there's also shame around
Yeah.
this kind of thing, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you no, Ilva wrote to you
Just
about
this
his
one.
yeah, but did you guys talk about
No.
okay.
No.
So tell us about how
yeah.
you ended up here.
Okay, so first time I heard about non-duality was a video, an interview with Angelo,
Mhm.
and yeah, it was 3 years ago, about three years ago, and just immediately there was like I used to like listen to Alan Watts videos and Eckhart Tolle's, and the way Angelo spoke about this, it was so clear. It was like, oh my God, finally, like this makes sense. That was like the first time I heard something that made complete sense.
Mm.
So I started following him. I read his book. I've been meditating on and off. I don't have a regular practice, I would say. And yeah, the thing that struck me maybe the most that you spoke about today was everything is a thought.
Mhm.
Also, sensations are thought, and there was a period I meditated like more regularly, and I got stuck a lot in like the distinction between thoughts and sensations and feelings wasn't that clear because as soon as I feel something, it feels also like a thought.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it is.
Like it's
Yeah.
really like so it never was that clear. And then I kind of I don't know. It just I don't know. I just my practice changed. Maybe I'm not sure. So I never got back to that point. But I've been doing some somatic work and other kind of modalities, not really meditation. And yeah, I've just I feel like I'm more in touch with myself through these kind of modalities. So
Mm.
yeah.
Yep, it's really really fascinating when you start to notice that a feeling, it's a sensation in the body and a thought attached to it. And that is what we call a feeling. So you can detach the thought and sit with the sensation in the body and going, oh, I have slight nausea and clammy hands. Why did I think that was fear or that was anxiety? You
Right.
only think that because of the thought attached to it. Or you can take the thought about, oh no, oh no, oh no, whatever thought is coming up, and then you can detach that from the sensation in the body, and it's just, oh no, oh no, oh no. There's nothing more to it. It's that combining of the two that makes it into a feeling. And then we go, see, that is important, or that is dangerous, or that like shame. that is horrendous to feel. Like I am shameful because I can feel it in my body and I'm thinking it in my mind. I am shameful. I should not be allowed to walk around free. It's like, so it's only because those two are combined. And at any point in whatever is happening in your life, you can always detach those two, the sensation in the body and the thought about it. And the entire picture completely shifts. The sensations in the body can just be felt as sensations in the body. Can you be in a body where you're slightly nauseated and you have clammy hands? Yeah, I can. It's okay. I can sit here being nauseated and have clammy hands. It's fine. There's nothing that is too big for you to deal with when you really become aware of what it actually is.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to, because I wanted to make sure if this is what I heard you say, while we're on the topic, that even the sensations themselves are a type of mental construct.
Yeah,
That,
correct.
yeah,
That's what like it's tricking me.
yeah. Well, it's because I mean, when you think of it, right, a, s- a sensation itself in the somewhere in the body is basically just an electrical signal being sent from a nerve, right? It has to reach the brain, and the brain needs to be able to formulate that into something that feels like a cramp in my foot. But that whole cramp in my foot doesn't really exist outside of the way the brain is formulating it at this moment, which means that and this is why everything that we experience is a mental construct. It is a type of thought. We have obviously different layers of thoughts, different ways that thoughts can show up. But it's that just like the color of the apple outside that we're looking at in our hand, it might seem to us to be red, but it's only because the light is reflecting into the eyes, and it's being interpreted by the brain in such a way that it sees this as a red apple. The same thing goes for the sensations in the body, that what are taken to be very fundamental sensations of a real body are actually just the brain's formulation of, well, I think this feels cold or wet or pressure or pain or something else. And it's because we have a very limited number of sensory receptors in throughout the body to begin with, and so it's basically projecting all of it, and it's creating all of it. And we can obviously learn that from the outside by learning how the biology of the system works, but from the inside we can start to become aware by being really clear, similar to what Pernilla was saying, with the direct experience of what's there. When you really focus on any sensation, physical sensation, that proposes to be a real dense thing. I mean, it could be like chronic pain, it could be an acute pain, it could be an itch that you're trying not to scratch, or any number of other things. When you really start to focus on that, it starts to dissolve. It loses its density, it loses its shape, it starts to change, it can move in different places in the body. You can kind of almost feel like you're going inside of it or outside of it. You might recognize all different, um, uh, the mind might create like a visualization of it where you actually kind of see a visual representation of it. You might notice that it's being mapped. If you think it's a cramp in your foot, you start to notice that there's a visual image of a foot that's showing up in the mind, and the sensation, which is supposedly happening in the same location of the foot. But when you really start to focus on it, you can actually start to notice that those two aren't happening in the same place, and that sensation isn't even necessarily happening down there by the foot, or it might be bigger than the physical shape of the foot. Like the whole thing starts to fall apart in terms of being really mapped accurately to the body. So the more we play around with those things, the more it just becomes clear to us in our subjective perspective that it is clearly a mind generated phenomenon and not some absolute reality of an experience in the body either.
Mm.
Does that
Yeah. My question then would be, is the sensation, I mean, the thought attached to the sensation? I understand this kind of connection. I understand the sensation. It's not where. I mean, for example, I have pain in my knee, and really, it's like at the same time I feel it and I think about it and I see
Mhm.
my knee and I feel it hot, and but
Yep.
it's really intertwined, right? So my question would be, I'm not even sure I can really just be with the sensation, uh, and also, can it not be a thought, the sensation?
No, I mean, it's always a mental creation. I think we have to distinguish between thought, like the overt labels of like, it's a pain in my knee. Oh, tore my meniscus, or, I don't want it to be here. Now I'm not going to be able to, go for a run later. Or those are like the more overt thoughts that we, kind of have about it. But the sensation itself is still a mental construct. It's still a creation by the mind, like I said. So from that, you can with practice, and it does, especially when something is painful, it takes a lot of practice to do that. But you can place the attention on the direct buzz or burn or however it's showing up, and just like what you'll first notice is probably that as you start to do that, you're tensing up other parts of your body in resistance. So first thing to do is to breathe deeply and really good exhalation, and see if you can relax your shoulders and your arms and
The
your
jaw.
legs and your jaw and all the other parts of your body that are tensing up in response to that pain, because it's not that pain, it's just, it's our body's defense against feeling something unpleasant, basically. And so the more you can relax those, the more you can start to already become a bit more equanimous to the fact that there is a pain in the knee, and kind of subverting that judgmental layer of thought that we often just hold for pains and itches and uncomfortable sensations in the body. You can start to just let awareness gently sit in that burn, in that pain itself, forgetting for a moment that it's even pain.
Mm.
Just get curious about this raw sensation, which seems to be very prevalent in your experience right now. It seems to be the like brightest spot for you to pay attention to. So with absolutely no judgment towards it, you just become aware and curious about this particular sensation, and just allow the attention to just rest there, floating into it. And notice, like I said, anything else that comes up in relation to it. Do you see a picture of your knee in the mind? Do you see it as like, a red cloud of particles buzzing in the mind? Those are all fine. Just let them be, but stay with the felt physicality of the sensation, just the raw, however that is felt, and just stay there as long as you can and see and watch how it changes. Because a lot of times it will really disperse or move around or do all sorts of different things. It can be with certain types of pain and certain types of stimulation in the body. The more attention we have on it, it can actually seem to amplify it at first. So, be compassionate. If it does seem to become overwhelming, then just breathe and move away from it for a little while, and give it some space. You don't have to force it, but it can kind of work either way.
But also, I also just want to say, I love all that. An important point to that is that when we have like pain in the knee, you don't experience pain in the knee.
Mm.
You have a label that we say pain in the knee. This is pain in the knee. And then you don't think more about it. Just like a red apple, that's a red apple. We don't think more about that. What we would like for you to do is really explore what that pain in the knee actually feels like. Because you will notice that it's not a one thing. It's constantly moving and changing and throbbing, and it's doing something all the time. It's so alive. And we completely miss that point when we call it pain in the knee. I don't want pain in my knee. Instead, like Todd said, really notice, how does it actually feel? And if you close your eyes, is that pain that you experience, or that throbbing or moving or ice or whatever it is, heat or whatever you feel, is it actually located where you think your knee is? Or is it more like a throbbing sensation that is way further to the left than what I thought my knee was? Because there are so many things that are limiting our experience in life because we have that thought label to it. So we are not really experiencing life. And it might be that you, with that pain in the knee, when you start to notice that it's actually throbbing over by the door somewhere, that you have that, oh, thank God, now I don't have to run. Oh, wow. So there's something hidden underneath, a relief hidden in that pain. I was not aware of that. But you cannot become aware of that until you allow that to be as it is. And it's not just pain in the knee, that is minimizing the experience completely.
Amazing. Yeah, awesome. I really felt it. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, amazing. Really good.
Yeah.
Well, welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, thank you so much. And yeah, and get back to us in June. I would love to hear how everything is
Definitely,
going, how the
definitely.
process is going.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much,
Nice
Mila.
meeting
Thank
you.
you. So nice
Thank you
to
for
meet
being
you.
here.
Okay.
Phoebe.
Yay.
Hello.
Phoebe, hello.
Phoebster.
Phoebster?
Phoebster.
Did you call her Phoebster?
Call it Phoebster.
Unmute. Okay,
Hi.
here we go.
How are you?
First, first of all, can you hear me?
Yes.
Perfectly clear.
Okay, all right. I'm doing really well, but I had something happen recently, and it just rocked me to my foundations. And you know, I know it's Fetter 2 stuff, but actually, let me see if I can prop this up here. Maybe this will be a little easier. So I don't really post to Facebook. I mean, maybe I posted something in Facebook twice over the last 2 years. I don't post anything about family, don't do anything political. And I don't know, 3 or 4 days ago, I saw my sister had commented on someone's post. So I went to the post, and it was this beautiful Black woman who was talking about how the video of the Obamas that were depicted as apes and gorillas, how that affected her. And it was the most compassionate and lucid and neutral delivery. But the conclusion of it was, she said, if we don't speak out, then we're complicit. And I thought, I'm posting this. So I posted it to Facebook, and I said something like, she speaks for me. And then what happened was, I think I got a silent migraine for 3 days, which ended up by me vomiting violently the third day, but no pain. So I didn't know I had a migraine, except I kept getting to a point in the evening where I was blacking out. And that's a sign of a migraine. So, and my brother is running for state representative of Pennsylvania, of his little district. And I haven't posted that on my Facebook page because I'm so terrified of being a target. I'm so terrified I'm going to be targeted. And then what happened with the Facebook post is 5 people responded to it with likes. And I get like 120 birthday wishes. So a lot of people not responding to this. And that terrified me. I mean, this is on a level of life and death. This terror of being a target is really debilitating. And I know I spoke about this 2 years ago, and I know, I went through, I did the second Fetter, but I know I need to go back to it. But even with my artwork, never update my website, never post on Instagram. God forbid I should become a target. I'm so terrified of being destroyed.
Yeah.
And anyway, I did end up telling my partner that that's what was going on.
Yeah.
And that felt really good, because even though I know he can't really relate, like he can't relate to that feeling of being destroyed. But he was supportive and loving and gentle and accepting. He just accepted that's where I was coming from. So, and I tried comforting my little girl, but she just doesn't believe it. She's getting ready to be killed. Like she's just waiting to be destroyed. So I heard what you said to Marcus. I took notes up there, to everyone about speaking gently. And I will go back and do the second Fetter again, then the third and the fourth.
I think a really important point for you to take away this time around is not so much for you to understand and to consciously calm yourself when you feel fearful. I think if you could embody it instead.
Okay.
So if you were at the mind body integration retreat, weren't you? I can't remember.
Well, I wasn't. Did the retreat last year, 6 months ago, 9 months ago. I didn't do this.
I think
January
that was that. I think that was that where we had the thing about the different developmental ages where our nervous system is created and why we feel fear.
Yeah.
I would like for you to revisit that, and particularly do the exercises that we have on day 2, 3, and 4. I think, if I remember right. So it's the ages up to around 6 years, because that is where we are the most vulnerable, when we have that deep feeling of fear, because we are so we are, I mean, if we're left to the wolves, we die, and the entire system knows that. So what you're trying to address is, it's in your subconscious. It's part of your nervous system. It's part of the way that you react with your nervous system without even being aware, to the point that you're having a migraine even without feeling the pain. So this is not something that you're going to realize with your mind, and you're not going to reach a point in your mind where, I got it. Not at all. This is going to be that one day you just feel different.
So
do the body exercises. It's a lot of creeping, crawling.
Well, that was the one that I did that creepy crawling, and I could not believe what came up from it. I mean, I was sobbing. I mean, I was howling doing that crawling exercise.
Yeah, exactly. And it's because it's addressing the exact issue from your muscles, ligaments, tendons, and fascias. And all of that tension that is there, that is tied in with different emotions, is being released. And you won't know why it happened. You just don't have that fear anymore.
Well, I do want to tell you that it does take me time to assimilate, but as a result of that retreat, I was really thinking about exercising, which I haven't done in 10 years. There's so much resistance to exercising and I don't know if it's about resisting accepting personal responsibility, which there's so much that was there. But in October, we have an elliptical in our house. I started on the elliptical for 5 minutes, which almost killed me. And then I added a minute a day for the month of October. And now, since October, now I'm up to over an hour at a time. I can work on the elliptical. And I've gotten strong, and I want to tell you that it was a direct result of you telling us how we need to take care of the body, and we need to get to a gym, and we need to do this. And that's my next step, is finding a gym. But right now, this is where I am.
I love that so much, Phoebe. I'm so proud of you.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of you. Well done, well done.
Absolutely.
I'm really happy about it.
And I will go back and I'll listen to that retreat again.
And particularly do the exercises. Do the exercises, because the elliptical is also, helping with that creepy crawly movement. So it might be a completely different experience for you now.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
And then if you can, get back to us in June so I can hear how you're doing with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will. I will.
Oh, and then a last thing I just want to say, remember that people on Facebook get a reminder on their page, in their face, it's Phoebe's birthday.
Yeah.
They don't get a reminder, Phoebe just posted a super important video.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the difference. That's it's algorithm.
Yeah.
It's not you. It's an algorithm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you only see the stuff from the people who you interact with a lot. So if you don't post stuff, most people aren't even seeing what you post when you do post it, because they're not actively engaged with your page.
Yeah.
So that can also speak volumes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. And have a wonderful trip to Europe.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you so much. So good.
So good seeing you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also.
Okay. Bye.
And I just want to say to everybody here, if anybody wants to purchase the retreat that we just talked about, it is on our homepage.
It is.
Where you can get it. It's called Mind Body Integration, and it's teaching you about the 95% of your personality that you're not aware of. It's how you were shaped, how your nervous system was shaped in the womb until you are 12 years old. And it comes with lots of exercises. And like Phoebe said, it's really very point on that if you have anything buried in you that is giving you feeling of shame or fear or anger or anything, it will come up and it will be addressed. So I can warmly recommend that retreat. Might do another one next year.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Who knows? Okay.
Then it's Maria.
Oh, hey, this.
Yeah.
Oh,
Who was that?
It's wait a sec.
Is that Susan?
Hey Susan.
Hi Susan. Was that you?
It's me. Sorry, I messed up my system. I just logged on. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
We got you.
I just logged on, so I'm going to tune in, but I just wanted to remind everyone, I just put the link in the chat for those who want to contribute to Pernilla and Todd's huge generosity of spirit for the 99% of their teachings that are free and
Thank you, Susan.
generously given to anyone who is willing. So I put the link. We learned that YouTube is not a good way to donate because they take a huge chunk, but just check it out.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Susan.
And so good seeing you.
Yeah, we're glad you can make it.
Yeah, and have a good trip.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. You too. I'm excited for. When are you guys leaving? I'm sure you already said it.
Yeah. No, we actually leave March
2nd of March.
Yeah.
Okay, I leave February 26th, so we'll send each other vibes.
Absolutely. Yeah. Hoping you have a very safe trip, and keep us posted on how it's going, and we'll
absolutely.
Write
Same. Thank you both so much.
Thank you so much. It was good seeing you. That's really kind.
That was so sweet of her.
Very sweet.
She's great. Okay.
And it's Maria.
So Maria, if you could turn your camera on, then we can spotlight you.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
Nice to meet you. See you. How are you?
I'm good. Hang on, I'm just gonna turn
Good.
my view off because gross. Or hang on. Okay, good. I'm good. I actually have just gotten a lot from everybody else's shares. That was really great. Uh, I think sometimes, well, what I really appreciate about the way you guys do the Fetters work is that it's not a linear
Mm,
process. Uh, I kind of came into inquiry through the relational stuff. So I did a lot of the work of Byron Katie.
Mm.
That's been my main practice for a long time. And so I kind of feel like I stepped in Fetters 4 and 5. And sometimes I like I have experiences of glimpses and stuff, but sometimes I don't even know if I've actually seen through the first Fetter. And then I get a bit um I mean, I'm actually fine.
You're welcome.
So, but I think, well, I mean, we could also absolutely go deeper into that. But it's such a common thing for people to question because, again, I think certain certain traditions and certain teachers really propose that it's like seeing through the self is this like one-time
Yeah.
spontaneous event which will forever change everything from now on, and that there can be like no vestiges of what you ever saw as yourself before then or something like that. And for like 99 point whatever percent of us, it's just not the way it is because
Well, nothing is permanent, first of all.
first of
Nothing's
all,
permanent.
absolutely, but also that we can have really profound experiences, yeah. But like we talked with was it John about that you can have these experiences, but then the conditioning goes back online. You still have, all the decades that you've been alive has been shaping the way that you are interpreting the world right now. And that generally doesn't just change with a light switch. So it's really normal to have very clear conceptual understandings about there being no self, really, clear experiences where every time you try to find it or you can't find it, or, really like, even big peak states where that sense of self drops away. But the conditioning is has been a functional part of your existence as a human being. And so it kind of keeps coming back online.
It's like
And
riding a bike.
it
You
is.
need to practice every day.
Exactly. So it's kind of like practicing to not have the default mode network online all the time. It's practicing to not have that particular ego structure in place all the time. And there was a quote that I heard recently that I really liked, and it was, if I can remember it, but it is basically like awakening is like this, kind of one-time event, and then liberation is the decades of work that you do to kind of undo all of the conditioning that's still there. So I think that's maybe a more helpful way of looking at it too.
Yeah, I mean that has been totally been my experience. And also that it's very it's like I kind of have tools to meet myself at all different sides of that diamond. Like sometimes I need to be a little heavier on like the wisdom teachings, and then I need
Yeah.
to go a little bit more to the compassion. And I guess the it's almost like that tension starts to come towards each other until you realize that the inquiry is the same as the meta.
Yeah,
And then
yeah, yeah.
that I think that's kind of, and I guess it's funny when you said that. I think it was David who you said it to about how like the that almost like the experience of going back into the identification after the glimpse
Yeah,
is kind of evidence for the non-self
yeah.
in a way, because and I that just blew my mind a little bit, because it's like, of
Yeah,
course. And
yeah.
it's a really nice way to flip it. And I think recently, I don't know, I just like the system. There's been a lot of like kind of mysterious chronic illness and a lot of very heavy depression, very heavy anxiety. And it's, for like 10 or 15 years now, every time it's like, oh, well, the minute I the minute it's accepted, like radically, radically, radically accepted is when it kind of expands into a new kind of consciousness, but not one that could have been projected. And so I guess, yeah, I guess just trusting that. And I guess just sometimes it's nice to have, people cheerleading and being like, because sometimes I'm like, how am I still like, oh, life just feels so hard. But I think it's just because I want to go at it with a scalpel and I want, like, that's just what I'm here for. I don't know why. It's what I'm doing. And because otherwise I suffer. Like, so, okay, cool.
But
But
I also think it's so, I really think that a thing that is overlooked massively in the awakening community is our body. And I know I've said the B word so many times, but it's like the body is so important. I mean, it's only 5% of our personality that is conscious. So everything you can say, I'm this, I'm that, and I see that all your experience that you talk about is only 5%. 95% is subconscious. You're not aware of it. So when something suddenly gives you depression, you have no idea why. But there needs to be that unconditional acceptance for a system that is working in a way that we have no idea of why. But I can create space for that. I can meet that with compassion and kindness. I can, do shaking exercises, and I can dance ugly to drum music, and I can, creep and crawl, and I can do so many things for this feeling of depression to be moved about. So it's not a thundercloud over my head, but I can actually move my body with the depression, express my depression with the depression with painting and singing and dancing and running naked in the woods or whatever, that I can express it in so many different ways. I'm not limited to how I am supposed to be depressed. And that moves what I talked with who was with the knee.
Ilvo.
Yeah, Ilvo, yeah. What I talked with Ilvo about, that when we have that idea of pain in the knee, we're limiting the experience. So when we have that idea, oh, I feel depression coming again, we're limiting the experience instead of having like, thank God it's here again. Now I'm gonna dance. Now I'm gonna work with. Now I'm gonna feel it. I'm gonna draw it. I'm gonna sing it. So there's an expression of it. And I know we don't want to dance and feel and all of that when we're depressed, but what I mean is just having that embodiment with it. How does this depression want to be expressed? If you were the depression, how would you express yourself? And then allow the body to experience and express without the conscious mind judging, this is silly, this is not real, you shouldn't do this, or anything like that, because it's just fucking 5%. On a committee, the 5% have nothing to say. So just, stay in the corner and let the 95 experience. You know what I mean?
yeah, totally. And I actually, I love that. And I think it's taken me a lot of work and courage to be able to approach it like that.
Yeah.
Because society is so hell-bent on pathologizing things that
Oh, yeah.
a long time you're like, there's something wrong with me. And it's only been in the last kind of 6 months or so that I've just, it's also just like the gift of no escape. Like
Yeah.
it's like it was just like, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? More medication or whatever? Like tried all that
Yeah.
shit. It didn't work for
Yep.
me. All
Yep.
right, this is the path and this is the doorway. So I love that you say that. And like I think yeah, everything can be tinged as a way to get rid of it, of course. So for me, it's like kind of the
So maybe
very
yeah.
yeah, it's like actually the very, very subtle sitting just with the sensations in the body
Yes.
and then kind of bloom open or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, and also have that. I mean, if you have had depression your entire life, it's probably not going to go away, is it? It's like your foot. It's been there always. It's probably not going to disappear. So we might as well get used to it. We might as well, acquaint ourselves with it and like, hello, my dear friend, here you are again. What are you going to teach me this time around? And
Well,
so
exactly.
yeah.
And what it would like literally just like what if this isn't wrong? Like what if
There's
there's
nothing
nothing
wrong.
wrong with
There's
like
nothing wrong with you.
no, exactly.
That's the whole point. We have this idea that all of us need to fit into a neat box. I mean, I'm autistic, so I'm in a different shaped box than other people. My point is that there are nobody that fits in that bloody box. Nobody fits in it. So just putting labels and everything for us to understand, oh, she's depressed. Okay, talk quietly. Don't, hide the knives, all of that. Instead of just it's just another expression of life in this neurochemical psychosocial constellation,
Astrological.
it's just another expression. There is nothing wrong with you. This is how you express yourself today. And it's a bit what we spoke with John about, that he's experiencing all of these things on a very, very short time period. Like I said, it's on Tuesday, he's experienced everything. So of course for him, that's like, whoa, I mean, he can't even find his footing in where he is. But there's something to be said about just flowing with that.
Oh, girl. Oh, I totally. Yeah, exactly. That kind of, yeah. And then all of the like non-dual states that everybody talks about that I've been chasing in the suddenly come online, and you're like, oh, this is what they were talking about. Yeah.
It's just another expression of ego. It's another expression of selfing. It's just another way, but I am now, more enlightened than I was before. Well, you're still you. You're still presenting as if you are one-ish thing here.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is just another expression of the same neuro, bio, endo, and there's no one in the middle. It's a bit like what I talk about with the Google Maps, that when you have Google Maps, you have that you're standing here and you can look 360 around in Google Maps and you can see everything around you. So what happens when you unpin? That is what I want people to do with the awakening curriculum. That you start by being in that point where you have the starting point. And this is how the world looks when you're standing on that street. This is how it looks. What happens when you unpin? When there's not a starting point? When there's just a flowing, whatever is arising right now, and there's no opinion about if this is right or bad or good or depressed or autistic or anything. It just is. It's just an arising in this moment. Now I have a glass of water and everything feels different. It's that constant movement that is happening. It's also why I almost get like hives when people talk about, that the self have dropped and now I'm here and I'm not, and constantly forever I'm going to be that non-self. Nothing is permanent. I mean, this second is not like the next second. So that nothing can be permanent. There cannot be a permanent non-self anywhere.
What do you think people are actually saying when they say that? Like, as in, like, what do you think? Yeah, I'd be curious.
It's a person to person experience, I think. But I think that we're living our lives and we are growing up as kids and becoming adults, and we have this idea of an I being here where the default mode network in the brain, it's very, very clear. Suddenly you can have an experience where that goes offline while you are awake. Not awake, but not dreaming, sleeping. Not sleeping.
Yeah.
And when that goes offline just for a moment, the entire charade falls apart. The entire house of cards falls apart, and you see through the entire delusion in a blink, in a glimpse. And that is just one little new path in the brain that has been created. That needs to be worked with more times for that to be as much a habit as the last 30 years have been in me being centered in an eye.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that little path where the default mode network was not active is what people call the glimpse of an awakening, or the first glimpse of a non-self. Yeah. It's just a shift in the brain.
Yeah. And okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And then eventually seeing that the default mode network is just as much that freedom as the glimpse was itself. Like,
it's the same brain. It's the same brain.
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
The irony about all of it is that if you were like striving to earn millions of dollars and, start a company and be CEO and, collect Lamborghinis and all this stuff, we would look at that and be like, oh, that's so egotistical. It's so self-centered. But for some reason in the spiritual pursuit, people do effectively the same thing. It's like, I'm going to collect experiences. I'm going to be, the best meditator. I'm going to be the best.
I've been on
And
all the
the
retreats.
retreats, like, it's coming from the exact same starting point of reinforcing this sense of self that needs something to be better to feel okay. But that, even though, it kind of gets the spiritual stamp of approval because you're sitting on a meditation cushion for 12 hours as opposed to eating in a gourmet restaurant, it's still coming from that same point of the I that's there. And as much as the spiritual practices are supposedly self-negating and saying that the self doesn't actually exist, when the way people talk about it is constantly reinforcing that sense of the self who has finally gotten something out of it, who has become awake, who has seen through the old. So it's just
and if you pay me a lot of money, so I can buy my Lamborghini, I am going to, also enlighten you.
That too. But even in even when people are just, in all good faith, just doing the practices and really, just being a spiritual seeker and really getting there, it can be, it's like a very subtle form of identification where the self is like approved of in a way or kind of goes underneath the radar. So it's like, but that's, it doesn't count, but I'm becoming more enlightened. I'm becoming a more awake version of that and realizing that the self doesn't exist. But in all the words that we use, it's very clear that that is still online, right? There's still something there that's being reinforced in that practice. So I think the more it becomes clear, within this whole system itself, that there was never one permanent individual locus of that experience, no individual that was in there. And you start to recognize, or the system starts to recognize more and more, that there are new expressions every moment, like Pernilla was saying. Every moment is fresh and experienced differently depending on the context that you're in. It's a context dependent self experience that's arising, which is why you can go onto a meditation retreat, and in the context of that retreat, you can have really mind altering, shifting experiences where what you took to be the self doesn't exist the way that it did anymore. And then you go back to work, and all of a sudden the context is that you are back in that role of, the worker doing whatever it was, and you're worried about your job stability and all of that. And then you go visit your family for a weekend, and now you're in the role of the 8-year-old who's right back in the family dynamics, and all of that comes back online. It's because there isn't one individual you who is like timelessly progressing through time in a way that is constantly, gathering these experiences and evolving and all that. It's a shifting kaleidoscope of experiences all happening within this constellation of a body.
Yeah.
So it's in that we're constantly reinforcing the self accidentally when we forget that this is just this particular expression is happening right now, and that is it.
It's
Right?
like it's like we're always like a work in progress and a masterpiece at the same time. Like,
Yeah.
because it's like, oh, okay, these patterns, because there's so much buy-in when you think I need to improve, because then the thingy comes back and you're like,
Yeah.
how the fuck is it still here? But when that's
Exactly.
gone, you're like, oh, this is here. Let's curiously look at it, because obviously
Yeah.
there's some charge in the system that could use some attention and love. Oh, I love that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, and I think people who default into, okay, well, now I've seen through the self, has always changed, it's never gonna come back. I've seen it and all of that. There's a lot of that kind of wishful projection about it.
Yeah.
And in some cases, and I'm not saying like this is like that they're doing this, maliciously or anything, but I think there's like an unconscious um uh what's the word I'm looking for? Not ignorance is too loaded of a word for that. It's like you're missing it. You're not even aware that part of that kind of self-belief or is still just lingering in some vague way. And there's an assumption that that is going to continue, you know.
And also like you have say in your book that it's that societal acceptable type of suicide that I am no longer the one that I don't like because now I'm awake. You know, I am now worthy. I haven't been worthy my entire life. I've been full of shame and guilt, but now I'm awake. And you cannot shake that, because if you start to shake that, I feel that I'm unworthy again, and all the guilt and shame comes back. So I have to be awake. I have to have achieved this. I need to be there, and it needs to be something solid that I cannot lose. And do not debate me on that.
I mean, I don't know who you're talking about, but that's never happened.
No, I'm not talking about.
Particular.
I'm not.
No, I know.
Okay, I thought I missed something. No, I am not talking about anything.
No, I know. Don't worry. You're talking about me. I've done that. Is basically.
Okay, no, I didn't know that. I'm sorry, sorry, no, that.
No, it's totally fine.
I wasn't talking about anyone. Oh my gosh.
No. I was just making a joke that like
I feel like the little Aussie that are digging her own grave without even knowing.
No. Don't worry. I was just joking. Yeah, there's no shame in that.
No, but I see that so much, and then when people come to the curriculum and they start to work with the second fetter, and they start to see, oh wow, I have a toxic starting point. Everything in my life is that pinned in Google little man that is perceiving the world from the starting point of fear. I need to make sure everything is safe around me, or from shame, I need to hide who I am because this is just disgusting. Then we realize that when we are chasing becoming awake, it is a suicide. You're trying to get rid of something of you that you do not deem worthy, that you do not love, that you do not have compassion towards, that you do not want anymore. Instead of embracing it and going like I said before with the depression, hello, my friend, here you are. You know, I love you. You're welcome here. I can feel shameful. I can feel, lots of guilt, and oh, that was that feeling arising, and then pick it apart and notice what is it actually that is happening. Can you be in a body where this is arising? There's this contraction, this nausea, this thing that is happening in my body. Can you be with that? Can you just stay with that? And that is where suffering ends and freedom really begins, because you can set yourself free and you can set everybody else free to be in the world the way that they are. They can have whichever labels they want. They can claim whatever they want to claim. You just have love and compassion towards it, because you have love and you have that. Oh yeah, I remember that. I remember when I was lying about myself too. So there's there's no need to pull the rug under them. There's no need to do anything anymore. You're just compassionate.
Yeah.
But it needs to start here.
Oh, totally. It's such a slight nuanced but completely different world then.
Yeah.
Because when I'm clambering to stay awake, you're absolutely House of Cards. But it's kind of for me, it's just like a traveling ever more like inward experience. And through that, like kind of coming back out into the world. I don't know, it's very paradoxical. But I feel like, you guys really also exude that, that basically you exude that and in your teachings and all that kind of stuff. So I just wanted to
love it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks so much. Enjoy. Come to Mallorca. I live in Mallorca. If you're ever in Mallorca.
Oh, amazing. Good to know.
That's really good to know. Yeah.
You're in Europe.
Yeah. That's amazing.
That's wonderful. Mallorca is wonderful. Where Mallorca is it?
A place called Dea. It's like
it's up north, isn't it?
Yeah, northwest. It's in the mountains.
Yeah, lovely.
All right.
Lovely.
Good to know.
I want to go to Mallorca.
Yeah.
So good to see you. So good to see you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. And we have Mark.
Mark, and do you mind if I just take another quick little 2-minute break? I've been hydrating so much to try to.
Off we go.
I'll be right back. So sorry.
So there's a bio break. Again, the little competition. Do you pee quicker than Todd? Okay, you're back. And there's Mark.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, we moved there. There we go.
Hey, Mark.
Hi.
How are you?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm really well. How are you doing?
Good, good.
It's
Good,
kind of
good.
it's weird being I don't get nervous often, but this is kind of it's kind of so I was taking some notes here and I love what okay okay so
Take
Breathe,
a
breathe.
deep, I was just gonna
Please,
take a deep
please
breath.
breathe.
Take a
Please
deep breath.
breathe. You're fine.
okay.
You're fine. You're fine.
um so I have a sensation that there is a separate self, like kind of when I go about my day, I notice the ways in which um, my brain kind of really quickly processes things. So sometimes, well, no, not this, it happens all the time, but I look at something and then my brain is starts like doing that thing where it's like telling a story about what's happening.
Yeah.
And as you guys are saying, it seems it's I guess it's just the default mode network turning on. But my question is, um, I kind of oscillate between being the one who is doing, trying, and strive. Oh, sorry. I'm passing
Hello.
music to.
Hello, Cat.
um, I'm sorry.
You're fine.
I oscillate between being the one who is doing that and the one who is uh I don't know, but I the position I'm in feels like I can feel the split in my consciousness and I kind of switch back and forth, but
Mm.
it does feel like there is like there's me and then there's the one who's like just kind of watching. Um and I don't even know if that's okay. So okay. So so my question um, is it more about being in between? Like I know you mentioned the middle way. So the position I'm at in my life is I feel like my ego, I guess, doesn't have discipline in the sense that, but I see how my focus oscillates so much. Oh my God, I'm
It's
sorry.
It's
okay.
My
okay. It's
It's
mind's all
okay,
over
okay.
the
Mark. You're doing fine.
place. So, so I'm not sure if, okay, so my belief is that if I create more structure within my day, then it will allow me um, to have a better relationship within myself and to um, have, I guess, some sort of more clarity because I kind of just allow my mind to just kind of do whatever it wants. And I
Mm.
give it permission to take me on tangents and take me on stories and roller coasters and things like that. And I'm wondering then, is my task then to strike up a balance between being the one who's just kind of here witnessing the experience, but also being the parent that's like, okay, it's time to focus and be here now or have structure. Is that
Yeah, I love the question. It's a funny thing because when we're talking about like the ability to have agency or free will or be structured and set routines and habits and things like that, it's proposing the idea that there is one individual Mark there who is going to be the good parent and is going to do the responsible thing and set up the structure and pay attention and do the hard thing. And what we're kind of pointing to is that the entire edifice of Mark, whatever we're talking about as being Mark in this, particular context or in that particular context, is a conditioned response. Now, the conditioning in that moment might be that there's going to be a thought about, setting up a routine and paying more, spending more time doing, focused breath watching meditation or something like that, which is going to, in the long run, probably help to strengthen the ability to pay closer attention on one thing, right? We're literally strengthening our concentration in the same way that you would go to a gym and lift weights and be able to lift heavier weights in coming months. It's a process like that. Now, so there's like, we can see that if we have this kind of idea that there's a desire to get something out of it, that, if I want to become better at concentrating, doing practices that lead to strengthening that concentration is helpful. If I want to be able to lift heavy weights, doing exercises that lead me to being able to build muscles to lift heavier weights, is a logical conditioned response that comes from that. But the crux of it is that there doesn't need to be an individual Mark who is being the parent all the time, or who is being, kind of off the hook and just letting the mind do whatever and get caught. All of those, right? Whether the parent Mark happens to come online this moment, or whether the kind of lackadaisical Mark who's just kind of going with the flow and enjoying the free flow of thoughts is happening, both of those are conditioned responses. Neither of those need an individual self in the middle of it to direct that behavior. It's all a play of the conditioning. And basically, what I'm always kind of trying to say is that when we're in a position like this, where, you're asking a question and you're getting advice, or when you have, sit down to meditate for the first time and then set up a schedule that you're going to meditate, every day at this hour, all of those are conditions that lead to the possibility of that future version of Mark sitting on a cushion or having more concentration ability or not. But it's like one more seed added to the garden that might bloom into something else. We're adding a condition that might push the future behavior into this, but we don't know. There are too many other conditions, affecting everything to know for sure. It's not a one-to-one correlation. So it's just important to recognize that even in that, when you're having these considerations about, it feels like there's the agent Mark that can set this, and then the other version that's kind of, either not abiding or doing something else, or is just aware, that alone is your proof, or, more evidence to the fact that there isn't one individual unified experience of Mark happening in the center of that body. That there are different proclivities, there are different motivations, there are different thoughts, and there are different behaviors that change from day to day and moment to moment. And all of that is just observable. We can kind of take note that, well, it's interesting. I was really motivated to meditate, and I was really clear on being able to watch my breath, consecutively for 10, 20, 30 times without getting distracted. And today it's just like, I'm just like watching the clouds move and no idea what's going on. That is interesting. We tend to take the problematic tack and just be like, oh, see, I'm not as disciplined as I should be. And we turn it against ourselves that, it's my fault. I need to do something to get better so that I can be more like yesterday, instead of just recognizing that this is your proof that you are not the same person that you were yesterday. There's no consistent being in there. And take that as evidence, right? So does that kind of help to clarify or point you in a direction? Because
Uh-huh.
sorry, it was just because when you said it, there was something about, like, there was a little bit of like self-condemnation or something in it, the way that you said it, that was kind of concerning, because it's like, it was like you have to do something, to be better, that it's not okay in some ways, that you're
It was
especially.
exactly what I
Yeah.
picked up on too. I'm
Yeah.
really happy that you, because
Yeah.
I had the same thing, that there is nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong in the way that you are expressing yourself in the world. And I don't even know you, you know? I don't even know you. So how can I say that? But it's because there is not that there needs to be so many things in place for anyone to condemn or judge another person. So when you're judging yourself, there needs to be so many things in place in you for any of that to be true. Do you know what I mean? That yeah. So when you
Yeah.
came on, when you came on and you were really nervous to talk with us and really nervous, and I just want to applaud you for doing it, even though you felt nervous about it. Well done, you. But when you come on, when you come on and you were really nervous about it, and you were and you really you had this idea in you that if you in that moment were different, you would have been more okay, right? And I want you to question that, because what we are saying is that that Mark that came on, that was nervous, that couldn't collect his thoughts, that didn't know how he should express his question, that was, and then the cat jumped up and it was like, all of that is absolutely okay. There is nothing wrong with any of that. That can only be seen as something wrong with if you're comparing with something else. And it's in that comparison that the suffering starts. So if you're not comparing, then there's just this arising of Mark right now. And that is absolutely like it should be. And like Todd, he said that sometimes you will be able to sit down and meditate, and there's just a calmness of thought. And the day after, you're confused by everything and sounds, and everything is just a mess. Both of those are absolutely okay. Either of them can only be wrong or not like it should be if you're comparing with something else. So don't compare. And when you compare, because it will happen, then just notice, what is it right now that I think is wrong with me? And ask yourself the question, are you sure about that? When you have that feeling, oh, I shouldn't be like that, or I should be able to have agency, and I should be able to organize things around me and not be like, a fly in a bottle. I should be able to do all that. Just calm down a moment and ask yourself the question, are you sure about that? Do you absolutely with certainty know that the Mark that is presented right now will become a Mark 2.0 if he can organize things? Are you absolutely sure about that? Because you're not. There is nothing wrong with the Mark that is here right now. And there's nothing wrong with the way that you're representing yourself right now. It's fine. It's fine. So just notice the comparison when that comes online, question the comparison, and come back to how it actually feels to be you right now, and notice how much right now is actually okay as it is. And I don't mean it with the way that, with the caste system in India and stay who you are and you should never strive or be something else, or it's not that way at all. It's just that soft equanimity that is arising in this moment where you feel, yeah, I'm fine. It's okay. Without this comparison that I'm doing all the time, I'm completely fine. And that comparison says nothing, but it's just a thought, or it's just a judgment, or it's just an assumption, or it's just, there's no truth in that.
Thank you. That got a little emotional. Well, thank you. Um, now my mind's blank, but
It's completely fine. That is okay too. Yeah, that's okay too. And watch this recording again and again and again until you really have that, oh yeah, now I know, you know, that is how it feels when I'm just okay the way that I am.
Thank you. Yeah, that's one of the things that my, I guess I don't know, my brain kind of wants to do that all the time, and it's fun I'm only just now getting to the point where I can more often, not it's not all the time, but I can more often be okay with the constant like comparison thing, or like this is like that or this is like that.
Mhm.
And that that's recognizing that is is me, is the thing I'm calling me, probably somewhere in there. So um
So
yeah.
notice the label, right? Because that is one of
Mhm,
those things where we're labeling machines, right? The
mhm.
brain is really used to just like taking in everything, deciding, that's a cup, that's a chair, that's a person, that's a cat. Like it thinks what a thing is, it slaps a label on it, and then from then on, it kind of interacts through that label. And when it's like that habit of labeling that is the me, right? Like I take ownership of that particular app, uh, habit or that particular thought pattern or whatever, that becomes me, and then I label that as, I guess that's the me that I'm talking about. Just recognize, what is it if it doesn't have that label on it of me or I? What is there then? Is it a consistent, persistent process, or is it this one-time floof of a thought, or one-time floof of an experience?
Oh, I see what
Did,
that's so interesting. Yeah, this okay, yeah, I get what you mean. Because it's I see. It's like arising now, and I think yes, I am thinking that it's a continuation of something
yeah,
Exactly, exactly.
else. Like it's like a it's
yeah,
like the story, and I'm in the story talking. That's so
Yeah,
interesting.
exactly.
Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Exactly. Like
Yeah.
like like every time you look down at your cat, I don't
Mhm.
know the cat. What's your cat's name?
This is Taz. He's
Tess,
The-
so yeah,
it's-
Tess
Taz.
doesn't.
So
He's with the
the
cat.
likes to be front and center.
Yeah.
But it's like, you have all of these different associations. A, her, is it he, her?
Tess as a her.
Mhm. Yeah,
Her-
it's a boy. He's a boy.
So
Oh,
Mhm.
he's a boy.
his
Mhm.
name, right? Then you know that he is a cat. You know that he's a boy. And you have all of these associations where all of a sudden, if you woke up one morning and he was replaced with, a gray female tabby, you would be like confused. But, there's an expectation there that there's a continuity of one cat across time, and always going to look kind of the same, always going to have certain, behavioral traits. So there's this assumption that are labeling, that you are interacting with, when every time that you pick him up or see him. And the same thing is happening internally, that we have these internal labels that I expect, when I see Mark in a mirror, he's going to look a certain way. And when I see Mark on video, he's going to behave a certain way. And when I hear him speak, he's going to use a certain vocabulary, and he's going to phrase in a certain way. And when I when I think, thoughts are going to arise in a certain way, and there's a predictability, and all of that gets labeled in the same way. Which is a way of just confining this experience to this identification label. And instead, if you can see as much as possible that what is here is just that spontaneous arising. I mean, what is he if you are looking at him without his name or knowing that he's a cat or anything else, right? If we can really do that with others in our life, even with trees and, chairs and people, everybody, everything, you can start to have a very different experience of what they are when you're interacting with like the actual, fur and the movement of light off of him as he moves and all of that. It's a completely different experience of the world. And the same thing happens internally. Instead of just thinking, well, this is my thoughts, this is my pattern, I've always been like this is something that I've always dealt with or always thought or always felt, be fully present without the memories clouding what your actual experience is now. and see that it is this one spontaneous present arising. And how does it really feel now if it's not being colored by all of those past memories that keep coming on and refiltering it into this kind of, so it looks the same as it always has. How does this moment actually express? What is it really like? And how does that undermine the idea that this is, the mark that has always been there, or even a pattern of mark thinking that's clearly identifiable?
That's really beautiful. I love that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I love that. Thank you. Uh, yes. Uh, and I did want to share just a little short story. I don't know, this may help someone out there, but with my selfing thing that I do, something that helped me see a bit through myself. Oh my God. Sorry. He's screaming at me. Um, uh, so I'll just tell a brief story, but I have a sister who she put all of her business out there, but she got baptized and she is kind of like, a devout Christian, and I don't, who whatever you want to believe is beautiful to me, but she got baptized, and in that moment, she kind of, just from outside in, it seems like she felt like all of her problems were fixed. And then she started listening to gospel music. She, by all metrics, became like a good person. She volunteers, she picks stuff up when they fall and stuff like that. And I realized I was doing the same thing with spirituality, and I kind of like picked it up like it's some sort of like hobby or practice or something. And now I'm like, I'm not that person that I was, or like the I'm not, I don't believe in the shame or something, or don't believe in, but it's there, and that's okay. And it's okay to recognize that the story is there, and it's meant for you to learn from, and it's seemingly also meant for you to um, leave it alone when you are ready to let go of it. And yeah, I think that's it. So thank you for that.
That's lovely. That's
really
beautiful.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Thank you. I think
That was
that's
it.
it for me. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Meeting you.
Lovely speaking with
Yeah,
you.
so good meeting you. So good meeting you, Mark.
Take care.
And
And last one for
then
the
the
day.
last patient one.
Thank you for your patience. Hello, Hannah.
Thank you, Hannah.
Hello, can you hear me?
We
Yes.
can. How are
Okay,
you?
perfect. Oh, thank you so much. I enjoyed so much listening to all of the people, and it was really so helpful to, yeah, and everything like was, I feel like was already said, and yeah, it's just, yeah, I'm new here, by the way, and
Yes.
I really appreciate your work. I came across your channel like, I don't know, a little bit less than 1 year ago, and it helped me so much to really uncover like it feels like shedding layers
Yeah.
with everything. And yeah, it has been super helpful.
I'm
And
so
yeah,
happy.
currently I'm working with the fourth feather. And yeah, last half a year, basically, I really took what you said, Pernilla, to my core, which is feel. So I'm trying to feel and be in the body, because also in like I'm doing also like I'm on this path since quite some time, and like being meditating and whatnot. And I really realized that I didn't integrate the body at all.
Yeah.
So that's really what's at the table now. Really
Yeah, I
come
love
back to
that.
the body, feel, and yeah.
I love that so much.
That's wonderful.
So much. Yeah. Yeah. So you said you have been meditating for quite a while. What is your
Yes. So like 10 years or something like that. But like also like being into Buddhism and then non-duality kind of like 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And yeah, yeah. And now I'm really, really glad. So it's been super helpful. And also at the moment, I'm kind of like with my meditation, what has also been shifting is that I feel like some time ago it was more like this kind of natural meditation, sitting with like just sitting. And I feel like now, whenever I do this at the moment, like after 10 minutes or something, some strong emotion comes up in some kind of way. And I have no idea where it comes from. Sometimes I have to move.
Yeah.
But now at the moment, it's actually quite hard to just sit in silence. But I mean, I
Yeah.
guess that's what is now, what's on the table.
It's exactly that. It's so fascinating with the body, because whatever we have been suppressing, and again, it's not something that we are consciously aware of. It's subconsciously that we are suppressing it because we have this idea and belief that I am something. So we are suppressing it. So when we start to meditate and we're sitting in silence and we're just, noticing what is arising, the body goes, great, here you go. And then it will arise and it will surface. So for you just to allow it to arise and welcome it, as like we talked about with Maria, with having that depression that arises, and just have that absolute okayness with what is arising, and having that I'm here for it. I see you and I hear you and I feel you, and it's okay. You can arise. You don't have to tell me why you're here. It's completely fine. And just create that space for it. That alone is in many cases, deep trauma can completely vanish and it's just not an issue anymore. And we don't know what happened. We don't know what it was about. We just feel different.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also throughout the day, I try to really observe like reactions that happen. And if I have time at the moment, I really try to go into the core of it and try to uncover and see what's underneath, like of fear, anger, guilt, and shame, and then just be with it as best as I can. And sometimes when the moment is not quite right to do it, I have now somehow of a habit to sit down before I sleep and like think about the things that happened during the day that triggered some kind of fear, but like maybe some just on the thought level and really just a slight fear. And then I sit down and like, okay, what was that? And without like trying to get too much in the story, I try to just be with the fear and like lovingly embrace it and
I love that so much, Hannah. It's wonderful. I really love that. Really, really love that. Are you on Discord?
Not yet, but I'm very
Gosh,
really,
you have
really,
to. Yeah, you have to.
Yeah, and I would absolutely love to also inquire with more people, be part of an inquiry group, and like yeah.
It's so helpful. I mean, the study groups are so helpful. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And one question about like it's just a very like day-to-day thing, but which I noticed, and I'm not quite sure in what how can I approach it in the right way. And it's really for example, like throughout my whole life, I have this habit of eating really fast and like being somewhere else with my head completely off.
Yeah.
And I really noticed that, whoa, what's happening? Because when I'm cooking, I'm kind of like, I feel it has like some kind of like the want, desire, motivation, like, oh, nice, now I'm getting like the nice food, whatever. But when I sit it there, I cannot really enjoy it. And I'm off somewhere else. I'm even thinking about dessert or like taking the next bite without being able to enjoy the bite now. It's like crazy. And I'm like, oh my God, what is that? And yeah, I don't know if it plays into the fourth or the third feather, maybe, or both.
And second, absolutely. You can do 4 or 5 exercises with, and you can address that in a moment. But when we have things about eating, we tend to think that it's about the food, about weight, about the nourishment and that. But there's so many other things. When we eat something where we chew, and we really give ourselves time to chew, we activate the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the calming nervous system. But if you have a nervous system that since you were in the womb have taught you that you need to be alert, you need to be aware of what is happening, then that is not being activated, and you will swallow your food whole so you don't have to chew, because that is danger. It can also
exactly.
be
I don't have the I feel like I don't have the patience to
exactly.
just chew a lot, just like whoop, down. Yeah.
So what I would recommend you to do is notice that there is a habit in you to eat in a certain way, because that was your causes and conditions. You were taught to do that to survive in your family. Now you can eat in a different way. And I would rate, Todd has made a really good eating inquiry that I can recommend you to do. It's on Fetter Mindfulness. But also, would you talk about some 4 or 5 things with
of course.
eating?
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious because when you said like, what's going on there, I'm curious, have you made it a point to, while you're cooking, become aware of what's going on in your experience? And then likewise, when you're sitting down to eat, what is actually going on in your experience? And when you're thinking about, so basically like every time you find that you're not present in the moment and you're deflecting into thought about the next bite or dessert or what the next thing is going to be, I would love for you to come back into the body and to feel what is actually being felt right then. What is it? Is there something in the process of cooking or the process of eating, which might be what Pernilla was just talking about, or something else that is uncomfortable to be there doing it? Like, are you uncomfortable?
Yeah, absolutely. I just don't know what.
Well, but can you feel it? Is there something that's physically off in the body, which is often one of the main culprits? Also, notice if you are having thoughts that are about, like, what happens if you sit and you're just really present, taking the fork up to the mouth, putting the food in, and you said you don't have patience to, chew and do that, but I think that's a deflection. I think it's not that you have a lack of patience, but that there's something that you would come in contact with if you were truly present that is uncomfortable. And so that's what I'm curious for you to get into contact with is, what is it? Is there a thought? Is there an emotion? Is there some other sensation in the body? What specifically is here, which is really unpleasant or unbearable or unwanted when you are completely present with the process of eating? Is there something that feels no, 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 and then you're ejecting off into the future? Have you had a sense of that in the past? Or will that be a new investigation for you?
Yeah, I feel like I just stopped at the point of like discomfort and impatience, and it didn't go much further than that.
How does the impatience show up for you?
You mean like the sensations in the body?
Yeah, like how do you recognize it as impatience?
Yeah.
What exactly is that experience?
How do you know it's impatience?
Yeah.
Yeah, some kind of like tingling in the fingers and in the stomach, or like here. So something that's like I don't know. Give me something else. This is not good enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it's fear actually, or shame. Yeah.
Impatience is, like Todd says, is a diversion.
Yeah.
You're not impatient. There's something underneath that, but you put a label on that is more comfortable to be with and talk about than what it actually is.
Okay, I see.
So you can start off by being with that tingling in the fingers and the feeling in the stomach or the chest, and just feel that. What happens if you don't do anything about that? What happens if you don't rush for the next bite or go on for dessert or think about the future? What happens if you give that your full attention? And if that is, well, one thing you might find that it's totally fine to be equanimous even with that feeling, and to not have to use that as proof that you have to rush to the next course, or get up, or even that you don't have you don't have to use that as proof that you even are impatient. This is just a sensation in the body.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything, right? There's an assumption that this feeling in my fingertips means I'm impatient. If we say that out loud, it sounds kind of absurd, right? But it's the mental connection that happens that makes it mean something else that it doesn't. So stay with the fingertips, stay with the sensation in the chest, in the stomach. See if you can become equanimous with the fact that they are there.
Mhm.
And then when that maybe starts to change or dissolve, see what's underneath that. If there is, sitting here, is there a feeling of, like you said, fear or shame or loneliness or sadness or something else that's like, we can't get in contact with that? Or like Pernilla said, we can't talk about that. So I'll just talk about my impatience for getting to dessert, right? What is really there when you're completely present with what is showing up in the body and in the emotional state? And how is that propelling you out into thoughts and out into the future? Because I think coming into contact with that is going to be much more enlightening, or it's gonna show a lot more of why there's been a resistance to just being with things as they are, and then you can work with it at that level, as opposed to just trying to, I don't know, power through, or maintain sort of a forceful direction of just being able to sit and eat or something like that. I think there's something underneath it that is important to discover.
And then also notice that your mind, when you do that your mind might create a story. Oh, it's because my brother, when we were kids, he always poked me with his fork, or it was because my dad, he was eating so quick that I had to eat much, much quicker, otherwise I wouldn't get any food.
Or I was taught that it was shameful to eat, so I have to
do it as quick as possible. Whatever story your mind is creating is just another diversion. It's just another way for you to talk about something that you're more comfortable talking about than how it actually feels.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And I would love to hear next chapter when we meet in June.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I appreciate so much everything you do. So
thank you so much. Thank you
Thank
so much. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, really lovely. It's so nice that we have so many people in the community that we haven't met, that have been here for years.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's so good.
And then we have
last up, John.
the raisin and the sausage, and as we say in Danish. Rosine Pølsen. Hi, John.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can. Hello, how are you?
Okay. It's been interesting.
What's happening?
And well, and my apologies if it gets noisy. This is a level 1 trauma center, so we just had a helicopter landing, and it's always loud. Yeah, I was feeling. We talked the last time about like, you need a hug.
Yeah.
So I figured out my way of doing that at one level was I had been feeling really despondent, and so I decided that like instead of doing anything terrible about it, that I would go walk on the walking track at the gym in the campus gym, and then just like walk until I either felt some other way or was just like too exhausted to think about how I felt. I actually ended up walking a half marathon that day.
Still not feeling anything.
yeah but it's funny because I kept doing that approach of like let's just kind of like feel it in the body, but like give myself like the walking, and a bunch of different kind of things happened. I figured out the The campus rec center uses river water as their water supply, so it's been like really treated, but it's like just above freezing. So I took some cold showers in that, and that was like a really good direct confrontation with like the mercilessness of God kind of aspect. and there's no room to think. And it's also, I don't know, weird. There may be some explicit belief of like I deserve to be punished. Um, like one of these days I was walking on the track and Google just knows too much. It sent me a YouTube recommendation from one of the people that I follow who's like a childhood trauma expert, and his video was like, "Are you really in trouble?" And he started coming up with these examples like, say you started working at a new job and now you find yourself, you know, preoccupied with the thought that maybe you forgot to give some paperwork to HR. And it was like that. And then every single example, I was like, oh, that, and that, and that, and that. And I realized like, oh, it's so, I feel like I'm in trouble or I'm about to mess something up so pervasively that I haven't even noticed it because it's so deafeningly loud.
It's the default.
That it's like, well,
just
now,
how it is.
that I just can't hear anything anymore. And so I think that was a way of confronting it. But at one point, you know, I was on a walk and I asked myself, well, like, why am I here? Like, how have I not killed myself already? And a series of events occurred. I ended up looking up I had sent a photo of a statue, like a manifestation of like one of the warrior Buddhas from Japan.
Yeah.
And I sent it to one of my other teachers, and he's like, oh, you know, Kitskarbha Bodhisattva. And I didn't think anything of it at the time. But for whatever reason, while I was walking, right after I had that thought, I went and looked it up. And there's like different translations of it, but I think that the word is Ksiti, Ksiti, Garbha. It's a manifestation of a bodhisattva that has has taken a vow to forgo Buddhahood until all beings are free. And but when I Googled it, the little AI summary or whatever, like it said, you know, depicted as like a bald monk who travels with like a staff and a lantern or a pearl, and is the guardian of lost travelers and deceased children, and then beings trapped in hell in the lower realms.
Yeah.
But like when I read that, I just started, and I'm like in a public place surrounded by people on this walking track when I read it, and I'm just start shaking uncontrollably and sobbing. And that, I guess I asked, and then I knew, you know, like what a strange incarnation to, you know, feel that there's nothing but purpose, and it doesn't matter how miserable I might feel. There's like this knowing that, you know, you could manifest over and over and over, and you could show up in hell and undergo, you know, the most brutal of torture with such poison, dignity, and compassion that the devils themselves would give up, and realize that that was fruitless. And there's just like, I don't know. I mean, I guess that's what's always been here. I don't really know what to do with any of it.
Do you feel that hole if you have like the middle way, then you have negativity and despair on one side and you have positivity and enjoyment on the other side. Do you feel that you're swaying from the middle way?
I guess, you know, like if I had to think about it, I mean, like it's just so deeply wordless and like embodied, kind of like a knowing that it's kind of like, I don't know. I mean, it's like purposeful nihilism or something. Like in the sense that everything is everything. You know, that you couldn't be further from the purpose, and yet nothing matters in the sense that it's like, you know, kind of dreamlike. But you know, there's also like an inherent compassion to it, right? Like you might say you have a dream. Like a lucid dream, you know you're dreaming, and I see like a crying person and I help them. But like I know they're a figment of my imagination because I know I'm dreaming. And yet like there's no one there to stop the helping them, nor is there someone there to like feel not good enough for not helping them or not doing enough. And it's like being lost, but in a way that there's a kind of confusion here. And I think I've talked about this before, like the idea that I to some extent I sort of feel like maybe there's something stuck, or maybe there's something I need help with, and then there's like some inclination to ask about it, and then there's like a quick recognition like, oh, I think they could just tell me like, oh, just be with what's already here, and then I just be with what's already here. And it's like, so I really don't, there's not, like the things are still like catching, but not for more than like a second. I can't want to be somewhere else for more than a second.
Yeah, the reason why I asked you, it wasn't so much to give you a quick fix or anything. It's more to know that the way that I kind of see it, because I know exactly what you talk about, I know exactly where you're coming from, and there's so many different angles into this. But it is absolutely true that it is all meaningless. That there is no point of anything. That it is absolutely without any meaning at all. But that is not a negative thing, and it's not a positive thing. It's in the middle way. It's without meaning. So the moment you feel that it has a sway to one side, there's an underlying belief coloring the image of meaninglessness.
Right.
It needs to stay in the middle way where there is no underlying belief or persuasion or it needing to be okay or anything. It can only be in that open space where it just is as it is, and that is neither positive or negative. So the moment it starts to have a color of something, you have just made something out of nothing. And that is where you can catch yourself and can see that, oh, right now I actually have like that there's like a negative tone to what I'm talking about, or there's a positive tone to what I'm talking about. That is when we're in the pendulum going like that. And when we have a belief, we are holding on to something that has to be true. And that is fragile because there is nothing to hold on to. What you're talking about is that I heard a really good description of it, that it's like being on a train that is like a runaway train, and you have looked out the window and seen that the track is out, but everybody on the train don't know that the track is out. So people are talking about sitting and doing selfies and are talking about how they look and are talking about politics and are talking about all of that, and you yell to them, the track is out, you know, that we're gonna plummet into nothingness, the track is out, and nobody hears you. And somebody is sitting and playing chess and asking you, do you want to play chess? And you're like, why the fuck do I want to play chess? I mean, the track is out, you know? But at some point you realize that, yeah, you can sit down and play chess here. It doesn't matter if you're playing chess or if you're yelling to deaf ears that the track is out. It doesn't matter. The tracks are still out. So you can sit down and play chess and just be with what is here without the positive or negative, but knowing that it doesn't matter and it is all meaningless. But it doesn't have the negative connotation like nihilism, and it doesn't have the self in the middle that will eventually die at some point and the earth will explode and we are all doomed. It's not the nihilism I'm talking about. Then if that is what you either hear or you feel, you have just taken it off the middle way. There's a tone that is not actually there, that you have just added to it. You just made something out of nothing. In the middle way, there is just this, and there is nothing negative or positive about it. It is just in this what is arising right now. And in that, you can help a puppy from drowning or not.
But you can have that feeling of freedom because of that. Because, when you're locked in, exactly what Pernilla said, to either direction, you're kind of trapped into that thought, which is binding you. And so when you can be in the middle way where you're not being bound by either the idea that, it needs to be meaningful in order for me to feel okay with life, or if it's meaningless, I'm going to feel deeply despondent and it's not worth living. Either of those are just these, extreme overgeneralizations or caricatures created by the mind. What was really here in the middle is that sense of freedom where you can just be and things are fine to play out the way they play out. And the thing that I wanted to not push back on, but touch on a bit is like when you said about, helping somebody, great, you're still helping them, but you said, that they're, a figment of your imagination. They're yes and no, right? Like they are and they're not. We can run into the risk of like solipsism when we really take it literally, that nobody is out there and this is all just my own dream and all of that, which is taking the metaphor too far. We're sitting here for 3 hours because there are people out there. We're interacting with people who really are living their lives and suffering in different ways, and we're all here helping each other out and talking to each other. Yes, none of you exist the way that we see you all, right? We're seeing people's faces on a computer screen and we're interpreting them through all of our conditioning and all of our coloring and filtering, and the image that we have in our mind does not bear any resemblance to what is actually sitting on a computer screen in another part of the country or the world. That's completely different. But it doesn't mean that those don't exist at all either. And so it's really keeping both of those equally in mind, that we can help other people because it matters for them in some way, but also not being deeply attached to it, needing to mean something more than it does, or needing to be, self-aggrandized importance or any of that. None of that has to come online. It's just this meeting of beings and this interaction that happens, and also the recognition that I'm speaking and seeing out of my conditionality, and you are not the way that I think you are, and you are not the way that you think you are, and we are not the way you think we are. And all of that is this weird interaction that's happening, but the interaction is still happening. It's just, not happening the way that any of us actually perceive it to be.
Yeah. I guess the one thing that I want to clarify is I meant like the very specific context of having a lucid dream. Like when you see a dream character, because
okay, gotcha.
But I think like go back to the nihilism thing. It's like you get to have nihilism, except you can't believe in nihilism. Right? Right, because and I think that's part of what my despair for so long was. Like, I think this ties into things that a couple of other people have said today. But like, there was this feeling of like, I realized for a very long time, like I wanted to die or I wanted to kill myself. There was like a constellation of feelings, much like the constellation of like there's kind of a pinching, gurgling, whirling sensation and a hollowness in the stomach around lunchtime, and that means I'm hungry. And it's like, well, we don't think that means I'm hungry. We just kind of like intuitively, we've conditioned ourselves to recognize that that's what that constellation of symptoms means, or constellation of experiences, and that like had happened with some set of like, you know, feelings in the body, kind of like almost like homesickness, like a this kind of like a hollowness in the low abdomen, and maybe like a little bit of tension in the neck, and that like, and then, you know, maybe like things were feeling like a little bit slowed down or something. And the combination of these, I had named, I want to kill myself. And that essentially, like, once I just was like sink all the way into it, like that feeling can arise again. It just doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. I love
You know what I mean? And so it's like it reminds me of what, I forget who you were, maybe it was Maria that you were talking to, and it was about like, you know, you like, maybe that depression never goes away.
Yeah.
I had that realization. It was like devastating a couple of weeks ago, or maybe months ago, where I was walking and I was on a walk and I was like looking at the sky, and it felt like I would like just the entire weight of my body just dropped out through my pelvis.
Yeah.
Like I just suddenly, like a sack of rocks, and I maybe I said this before, but like I suddenly realized like, oh, I'm never gonna get better. Like, this is not get, you know, like, and but not in a hopeless way, like in a way where it was like secretly saying like, and it doesn't have to. Like you could feel horribly depressed for the rest of your life, and it's gonna be just fine that way.
Yeah.
Because that's what it is, and so it was like, it was that thing, that middle thing. But it's not knowable as a thing.
No, exactly.
And that's why I like can't talk about it anymore.
Yeah, exactly. But it's also what we talked to Mark about, that is really having that you can only have the idea that there's something wrong with that in comparison to something else. In and of its own, there is nothing wrong with having that, I really don't want to live anymore. There is nothing wrong with that. It's just a thought. It can be investigated to where it comes from. It can be investigated to, what are you diverting from? What is it that I don't want to feel? Because for most people, it's not that they want to die. It's just that what is right now, they don't want anymore.
No.
So what is it right now you don't want anymore? And that can be inquired into.
And apparently, ice cold water makes it inescapable.
Yeah. Do you know why?
For me.
Do you know why? It's because when I love ice cold water, I have to say. So when you go in, either have like a splash over your head with ice cold water, or you sink yourself into ice cold water, the part of the brain that realizes that if you stay here, you die, kicks in immediately. And that is when the entire body goes into panic mode to get away from it. So you're snapping out of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the craziest thing for me is that there's a moment where it's like hyperventilating, and you have to be careful that you don't make yourself pass out.
Yeah.
But then like just on the other side of it, it's like, what the hell? Like it's just as intense, if not more intense, than it was when I was hyperventilating. But my entire body just relaxes. Maybe it's a little bit like when you see like an animal get picked up by like a hawk, and they're like well, I saw this. I wish I could have gotten a video of it, because it was just like horrifying and beautiful at the same time. Like a full-size rabbit got picked up by a hawk, maybe 25 feet from me on campus, and it flew by. And you can see that it's like completely like ragdoll mode, because it's like, you know, it's kind of shut down. But like you get to have your cake and eat it too in that mode, where it's like you're shut down, but you're also fully here. Like you don't have to do anything about it anymore.
Yeah.
But like anyway, yeah.
It's funny because it also reminded me, we saw an Insta video recently of a woman who gets panic attacks, and she was suggesting the thing that she has found that shuts down the panic attacks is she has these candies that are like they're supposed to be like the most sour candy on earth, and they're like these little balls that are covered in some sort of a powder. And she like as soon as a panic attack starts, she pops one of those in, and it is like, she's like her eyes are watering, like it's just,
It's so
smacks
sour.
you because it's so sour. And she said it just shuts down the panic attack because you can't think of anything else. It just completely shuts off your thoughts because it is just sour, like in the most intense way. So she was recommending for people with panic attacks to eat these super sour candies.
Well, that was my other joke too. Is it's like, because I've been like looking into it. Like there's one of those demotivation joke like posters. It's have a panic attack, you've earned it. And I love it. That's a whole other thing. But yeah. Well, thank you.
Hi, Fawn. I'm really happy you're here.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's always a joy when you come on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad I've not given up.
No.
A lot of people around me have, and it's not their fault. I mean,
no.
I can see the blamelessness of it, but the compassion thing, like, will get me in trouble. I can't say it out loud in public, because things like, ultimately, in my mind, like, kind of everyone is blameless. Even the people who are doing the most cruel and harmful things, in the world that we're seeing a lot about now. Like, that doesn't mean there's no accountability.
No,
or that there should be no accountability. But I just mean that, like, what a tragedy to be born into an incarnation where this is what you're drawn to.
Yeah.
And it's like a sense of compassion and, but not quite pity. I mean, I think there's a pity is like the kind of near enemy of the compassion, but that gets really painful very quickly. Like, there was kind of a hollowness that I felt I touched into for a while. And I thought, maybe that was like, that I was like some kind of psychopath. Because it originally got triggered by MDMA. And I explained this to a friend of mine, and he was like, yeah, that's not a thing. Like, people don't feel like cold and isolated and like, I called it the infinite orphan. Like, just bottomless aloneness. And I came to recognize later that actually, no, this is like the ultimately most clean burning fire of compassion, and it's just so even-handed that it can love even a psychopathic murderer.
Yeah.
But it's also that
and that's a really painful.
No, but John, there's nobody. I love Robert Sapolsky, right? And he has made a lot of studies about free will, and what we know about neuroscience, we know that there is nobody that can be blamed for being a psychopathic murder. You can't blame them for that. You can only have compassion to it. You cannot blame a teenager for having a fit or a toddler throwing a tantrum. You cannot blame a rapist or a murderer. You cannot blame them because their biochemistry and their endocrinology and their wiring and all of that, it's just like Sam Harris. He talks about that if you have one of those self-driving cars and it just drives off the road, you're not blaming the car because it's just an autonomous driving vehicle. So are we. You cannot. Oh, bless you. You cannot blame anything that is arising. You can only have compassion for that happening because nobody would choose to be a psychopathic murderer or a rapist or,
Right.
A 3-year-old is not choosing to throw a tantrum. It's just the nervous system cannot do anything else than what is happening right now. And all that.
Yeah, there's no
No.
There's no prime mover. There's no like thing we can go all the way back to and be like, that's where you fucked up.
No.
Exactly.
Because it's all made of everything else.
Yes.
Exactly. But like you said, we also, the rest of that metaphor with the autonomous vehicle is if it's, driving into people and killing them, you still take the car off the road and try to repair it and, rehabilitate it so it can go and drive safely without killing people.
Right,
which totally makes sense. So it's like that's your, accountability. Yes, in a society, yes,
Absolutely.
but blame is not necessary part of that accountability.
Yeah, and that
absolutely.
right. Because if you've demonstrated that you have no remorse and that you can't help but kill people, then we don't have to hate you, but we can absolutely, remove you from society.
Exactly.
And keep you in a place where you don't have access to that set of behavior.
Exactly.
Yeah, and also what we're finding out now we know so much more about the brain, of what is turning areas on and turning areas off in the brain. It's a matter of decades that until we have peptides or medication or something that can turn things on and off in the brain. So a psychopathic murderer is not a psychopathic murderer anymore.
Fingers crossed.
I'm quite sure.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Unknowable. The future is unknowable.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Well,
thank you so much. It was really good seeing you again.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
I'm a big John fan, so I'm happy you're here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, everyone.
Could you put it on so I can see how many is here?
Thank you. No.
No, there we go.
Thank you all so much for being here and for sticking out the full 3.5 hours.
Yes.
Which is remarkable.
Super. I just want to check in with Kate and Barney. Are you guys okay? Oh, hi, Glenda.
Hello, Glenda.
So good seeing you. Sorry, I didn't see Kate and Barney. You're okay? All's good? Wonderful. Wonderful. So happy. And so good to see Glenda, and sending much love to all of you, and see you in the 16th of June.
Yeah.
And remember to subscribe to both channels, because we will
hopefully we will be going live at some point and doing something while we're gone. So yeah. Thank you, everyone.
Really good seeing you guys.
So good. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you so much.
So much love from us.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.